Well, well, well. Now he's gonna wait. Is he gonna wait 30 minutes before he talks? Before he brings this in with that intro?
Oh yeah, he got to go to 11 o'clock today.
No, no, that's what I'm saying. Is he gonna wait? Is he gonna wait
We
30
on this
minutes
tailbone. We on
like
this
he
tailbone
normally
today.
does?
Okay, so I thought I missed the live.
You
I
did.
thought I did. No, I did
No,
not.
I'm
I
just
didn't.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, CJ, because
This
now I'm
went live
modding.
for a little bit, but
Oh, okay. I'm modding for the other people because normally
hmm,
I'm in here.
cutting out. That's for sure. Maybe it's on my side.
No, I don't know.
It's crazy. I can let all y'all up, but I can't let myself up.
You know what? I hate that too, Dre, because I'm a super mod for three other people, and yes, never mind. How was your trip, Dre?
It was great, man. I had a good time. My stomach is a little messed up. I don't know what it was that I ate on my way home, but oh man.
Montezuma's revenge, bro.
You didn't drink
Hey
the water.
Dre,
Of course, I drank everything.
The water in Mexico is not treated.
It don't do nothing to me. It was something else though.
Oh, okay.
I actually wasn't Mexico. It was something I ate when I got home. I shouldn't have ate it.
Oh, got it, got it, got it.
I went to
Yeah,
the gym today
stay
and I
away
was
from that
like,
alcohol, man.
I went to the gym and I'm like, I am not lifting these weights. I might have an accident. I'm going straight to the sauna.
oh man.
Yes. Hey, but I'm so curious. Why did Samson enter the vineyard?
Right.
Well, didn't he unalive the lion in the vineyard?
Yeah, the lion ran up on him. He wasn't
Right.
even supposed to be in
So
there.
isn't the vineyard supposed to be like
That's
the
us.
wine? Isn't it like the wine, the new like the word, good ground, something like that? And maybe
Right.
I don't know. The
But
No.
lion.
Dre, I was looking at it at this, and if I'm wrong, please correct me before try get in here and tell me put an address. Um, isn't it in regards to that particular? I mean, since Samson is a foreshadowing of Christ, and we are the vines, right, and the fruit of it, and the lion in this part of it is the enemy. So it's like he's walking among us.
Man, when you said that, sister, it just came alive in me. It was like, that makes sense because he says, I'm the true vine, my father is the husbandman, and ye are the branches. So we are the vineyard. He came in and destroyed the lion, right?
Right.
From
Right.
out among us. That's good, sister.
That's exactly my point. And you, if you think about it this way, remember in the Garden of Eden there was two trees, and it's almost like he unalived the lion, the lion that walks around, like a roaring lion, looking on who to devour. Except this time, when he comes in the second time, he's in the vineyard and he destroys it. He unalives it, and honey comes out of it, which is the unaliving of the carnal mind creates honey, which is the deep meat and the things of God.
Right, and a swarm of bees came out of the death of that lion, which is the congregation and the
Ex-
testimonies and the witness.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Okay.
It also reminded me of like taking dominion back. Taking dominion back.
Yes, it's for all the ones who fell prey to his deception. Now their eyes are open. Now they were descaled. Now they see the truth.
Yeah. Good job, everybody. That's a good live. See you tomorrow.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Yes. Thanks, Tribe.
Yeah, that was good. Hey, that was good, y'all. That was good. That was good right there. So that
You know,
answered my
so
question.
we're supposed to take our inheritance, right? We're supposed to take it. It's like uh, Joshua taking everybody into the promised land, they had to take it, right? So when we take it, when we destroy the lion, and we take our inheritance for ourselves, that's when we get our honey. That's when we get, descaled, our revelation. That's kind of how I look at it.
Hey, so he grabbed the honey, right, Benny, and he took it to his parents?
Yep, yep.
So I don't know if this is reaching. This might be reaching, but what if it's like a depiction again? Samson's a shadow of Christ. What if it's him when he came down to earth and said, "It is finished," like it's done, and he comes back up with saying, "There is life in the vineyard now. There is meat in the vineyard now."
I don't feel that's a stretch. I thought what
Exactly.
I shared, Dre,
No,
was
I
a
think
stretch.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And with him taking the honey to his parents, that's like us, that's us spreading the gospel. That's us making disciples. Kind of like what Trot's doing. Opening eyes, same type of thing, I guess. But
Saw it as us being baptized, and the word says how the Lord he how he fills with joy. I'm paraphrasing. Everybody, forgive me. He fills with joy. He dances when someone is saved or gives their life. You know what I mean? Their faith. Everything comes to life once they believe and once they know. So isn't that being be, uh, yes, being saved and understanding that you've been deceived by the ultimate deceiver, but someone has come to you and shown you the true way, the true light, and how your life is truly supposed to be.
Man.
Am I am I reaching too much? Because everybody got quiet. I'm scared because I don't be quiet.
No, you're fine.
Nah, we're
Listen, it's
soaking
better.
it in.
It's better to reach than it is to not reach. I'll tell you that much.
Amen,
It's
right?
better to dig than to not dig and just look at. I saw one of our boys, Benny, that believes in certain things on live today. He's reading scripture, and I'm like, bro, this dude is literally reading black letters on white pages and trying to beat people over the head with it without realizing what the scripture's actually saying, which is embarrassing, honestly. But
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
yeah, no, I think
yeah.
that's good.
Nah, and it is frightful to say things that you don't know if people will receive. Just like what I thought what I was seeing when I was reading the story, and then guess what? I shared that, and y'all brought it full circle for me because I mean you can't deny it. It makes total sense, and that is relevant to what Jesus did. Like he came in the midst of the enemy. Just like why is he in the vineyard? Well, why is Jesus sitting with sinners? Because he's finna defeat the lion, right? He's finna defeat that foe, and once he does, out of that defeat comes honey, comes a congregation, comes a declaration. Just like the swarm of bees and the honey, right?
Right.
Yeah, like the
And
bees. Yeah, like the
So
bees.
now, so now
here
that
we
we
go.
now that we figured out Samson, let's get into.
Man,
Hey, we
What
just
it do, Hebrew?
we just figured out
man.
Samson. So now we're going to Gog of Magog. You ready,
Yeah,
Trap? Let's
yeah,
go.
Uh-oh.
we're ready.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
All right, good. Y'all record that?
Yeah, yeah. It'll
Y'all
be
record
it'll be
that?
on YouTube.
Hey,
You'll be
hey,
able to find
try.
it on YouTube.
Yeah.
We ain't even figured out frogs yet. What you mean, Gog and Magog?
Man, I couldn't believe y'all yesterday. They're over here like, well, the frogs, and I'm like, see, I wanted to put in the chat so bad. Prime example of not being familiar with your Bible. We still talking about frogs. I said, I'm gonna give y'all a hint. And that's it. I'm out.
That's funny. That's so funny.
Like, y'all talking about frogs. And then they're like, well, yeah, but see, it's three frogs. And then it was because of the dragon and the beast and the prophet. And I said, first off, have y'all even figured out the dragon, the beast, and the prophet? Or y'all ain't figured out nothing? I don't even know where y'all kept hopping around. Every 30 seconds, you're talking about a different topic in that area. I was like, yeah, man, I try to tell you, I need to slow down because that ain't how to do it.
Why do we roll?
Y'all going way too fast.
I'm just filling up attendance when I'm, most of the time I'm in a live. It's like I'm filling up attendance. Even now, I'm just taking up a pew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, heck, you got to figure it out somehow. But I ain't gonna stick around while y'all are adding and subtracting. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm just being honest.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna hop out of there. They're like, why don't you come up here? Ha! I better not. Y'all go right on ahead. Y'all got the spirit. Y'all figure it out.
I try.
Got
So
it.
my
Yeah.
bad.
What's up? Oh, you're good. What's up?
We want a verse by verse breakdown of this 14, man. Because 14 is
All right,
heavy.
y'all read it
It's
already,
low.
right?
Oh we read it, but we still got to read it again. You stuck with us till like at least 11:30.
Well, actually, guys, look, there's about 15 minutes left. If anybody's got any questions or anything to say it now or forever hold your peace.
I'm
All right,
good.
that's fair.
Burn.
That's fair. It's 10:30, 11:30. All right, somebody put up a poll for 1 minute, not 5 minute, 1 minute poll. If y'all want to go to 11:30.
You said a
Brittany, what's
35
up?
minute. You said a 35-minute poll.
No, 1 minute. 1 minute. We need the answer ASAP.
We can't do it in the
Oh,
box.
you
Whoever
want
the
that
mod in the
microwave?
box, we can't
Okay.
do it. Mods
Okay.
can't do it who are in the box.
Hey,
So it has
wait,
to be
Trap.
All right.
Kit Kat.
While somebody's figuring out that poll thing, let me ask you a question while we wait for the minute. Ready?
I
Oh,
I sent you a text. We were talking about it a little bit this morning. So, what exactly is lukewarm? It only comes up one time in the entirety of the Bible, and it's in Revelation 3:16. Not that I want to talk about the book of Revelation. I want to talk about the particular term
All right,
lukewarm.
fine. Let's go to it. Let's go to where it's at. Let's go. Where's it at? Let's go to it. Let's go.
Revelation
Let's go.
3:16.
Can I get my guess? Can I get my guess?
Can I get my guess? John he said John 3:16. Let's go to John 3:16.
No, Revelation 3:16.
No.
no.
Revelation.
Revelation. Same
All
thing, right?
right. Who's guessing?
As Yoda would say, no or no not. There is no guess.
Yeah. No or no not.
Hey, my
There
answer
is
would
no
be
guess.
trying to mix law and grace would be my answer.
All right.
Good choice. Good
So
choice. Let's read it.
somebody read
Let's say,
from somebody read from Revelation 3 starting at 12 all the way to
12.
7 all the way to 17. Yeah, Revelation 3:12 all the way to 17.
All right, here we go. It says, "He that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which in New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. And unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans, write these things, saith the Amen, the faithful and the true witness, the beginning of the creation of God, the creation of God, sorry. It says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would not wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. I'm going to keep going. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knoweth not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
Yeah. So in 17 he's talking to the rich, right? Go ahead and read all the way to 21 or 22 or whatever it is.
All right. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. And it says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Behold, I stand at the door.
Okay, all right. So in 17, in 17, he's talking about people who are carnally rich. And then in 18, he says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich. So he's giving them, now he's talking about spiritual wealth.
Right.
Right. And he even goes as far to say white remnant. He's talking about white remnant, his covering, that thou mayest be clothed, because they're naked. He says, and that the shame of thy nakedness, which is sin, right? That's why Adam knew they were naked. They knew they sinned. There was shame. That's why
Elijah was
Noah.
found naked in Ezekiel 1.
Well, I was going to bring up Noah, but yeah, you can bring up that one. But Noah was naked. There was shame, and it wasn't because his youngest son sodomized him. It's the most ridiculous crap I ever heard in my life. Everything's about sex with these people. Anyway, and thou mayest. That was another question I asked in that live Benny was on. I said they were talking about. Did you see my question I asked Benny?
Nope.
I didn't either. I was in the comments. I
They were
didn't see
talking.
anything.
They were talking about sexual immorality, but they were talking about literal sex. And so I put the question, what is sexual immorality? Nobody answered. It's like, all right, so Trot go to 11:30. Basically, 90% said yes. 10% said no, believe it or not. Well, 10%, you're probably not usually in this live.
Yeah, shame on you.
Shame on y'all, man. So we're going to have to delete 15 minutes. So we're going to go to 11:15. We got to give everybody what they want. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
I said no.
I bet. I know some of y'all said no just to be silly. We are the merchants. I was the 10% goofballs. All right.
Somebody said he
And it
was
says, I
10%.
cancel the.
Hold on, Trey. He said Aaron said he was 10% because he wanted you to go to 12:30. So he said no, 12:30.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my Lord have mercy. It says, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye slave. Eye salve. Go look that up in the Hebrew. It says that thou may seest.
I can look it up in the Greek.
The Greek.
Gotcha. 2854, which
Gotcha.
means.
Oh, actually, it's Aramaic, but go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Okay. A preparation composed of various materials and used as a remedy for tender eyelids.
What is it again?
It says a preparation composed of various materials and used as a remedy for tender eyelids.
Yeah, for tender eyelids, that thou mayest see. And if you don't know what's used for tender eyelids, it'd be the grace of God, so you can become descaled, so your eyes are anointed, so you can see. And it says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous therefore and repent. So clearly, he's telling the people in 17, right? 3:17, those kind of people, he's telling them to repent. So he's showing them. All right, let me just finish. It says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. So we know that's the spiritual door. Yeah. He said, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and I will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh, I will grant. So let me go back to 3:12. Actually, I should have read 11. 3:11 says, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God. And it says here, Behold, I stand, 21. To him that overcometh, I will grant to sit with me in my throne. 3:12 says, him that overcometh, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will go no more out. If you don't know what that means, he will go no more out. That's why Revelation is going to be hard to understand. So it says, to him that overcometh, this is 3:21, will I grant to sit. So one's pillar, one is sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame. Right? That goes all the way back to the right hand of the tribes, the way the tribes were set up. Right? One of them is overcome, which is Gad, which is at the end, because not only is it because it's from the Levites, it's Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. And Gad is the hand, the overcoming, the servitude. So even though Jesus is the right arm of God, he is the hand. What?
The right hand is
What happened?
the son heard and overcame. He is the right
Yeah.
hand. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he is the right hand. And it says right here that to him that overcometh, I will grant to sit with me, which is the right arm, the right hand, in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that hath an ear to hear, let them hear the Spirit saith unto the churches. 17 and 18 are pointing at two different kind of people. So it says at 14, and unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans write these things, saith the Amen. It says the faithful and true witness. Who's the faithful and true witness?
Jesus.
Yeah. The beginning of the creation of God. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. What does that mean? That you're neither cold nor hot.
You mean literally or spiritually?
Here. What is it? What is he talking about here?
Lukewarm.
Yeah, spiritually.
Uh,
Yeah, he says, I would thou were went cold or hot. He said you're neither cold or hot, though.
right.
Right? He says
Unstable,
thou art
double-minded.
neither. There you go, double-minded, bro. You haven't made a decision. He goes, I'd rather that you just made a decision. So it's talking about people in this very specific passage. It's talking about people who are rich, like 17 says, because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods. It's talking about merchandise, but physical merchandise. I have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. Right? And so that's one person. And then the other person is 18. And when I say person, I'm saying the other type, the two that he's talking about. He said, I cancel thee to buy of me gold tried in fire, which is spiritual, which is deity, the deity gold, right? So he says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, which means double-minded, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. And the Bible makes it clear in James that a double-minded will...
Bro, you broke up. Did he break up
What
just
does it
for me
say
or for
about...
everybody?
For me too.
You broke up. Say it again. James said what?
Yeah. Yeah, what does it say in James? A double-minded man will what?
He said,
Waver?
let him not
Does
think he
anybody remember?
received anything from God.
Right. Let him not think he will receive anything from God, because he's lukewarm. He's double-minded. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he He's in his belly one moment. So it's talking about prayer. When you go look at it, it's talking about someone who prays and then questions it, prays and questions it. Well, the only thing that's questioning what the Spirit is saying is the other belly. That's the only other thing that's questioning it, and you're listening. So your soul is praying because the Spirit knows to pray, so you pray. But instead of believing on what you pray, what you're praying on, your other belly questions what you're praying. And that is talking
Isn't that
about,
awesome?
do what?
I'm sorry, Trot. I said, isn't
Oh,
that isn't that when fear sets in because you're afraid and because you don't know what's truly going to happen because in some instances how you don't believe that God is with you, and so you try to figure it out on your own and you try to control the
what?
situation.
Well, yeah. So those are the two bellies, right? You have the belly
Right.
of Christ, which is the living word, which is the truth, and then you have the belly of people's personal will, and it's our choice to either be afraid or not be afraid. So,
Correct.
but those are the only two choices. And when people are constantly more focused on their belly, it would always their physical belly anyway. It will always question the spiritual belly. The person is double-minded. So basically, because James talking about prayer here, it's talking about everything. So when a person prays, that's why I always say it's not okay to pray over and over and over about a situation, because the question is this: did you not believe the first time you prayed? That's the question. And you have to ask them, yes or no, did you believe the first time you prayed? And if they go, yeah, of course I did. Oh, so why are you praying for it again? Why? Well, because no, that's your belly. You're living in fear. Because if you believed after you prayed the first time, you wouldn't even let it bother you anymore. It does matter. Oh, trust me, it matters. It matters 100%. The idea, what people have been taught for such a long time, has been a lie. It's been a lie. We don't have to beg and plead with God and fast. And if you pray and fast, it's going to twist God's arm behind his back and he's going to do something. You know, someone came up here not too long ago and said, you got to move God. You can't move God, dude. You don't move God. God moved before we were saved.
We
And
weren't
now that
even
we're
born.
saved, we have to make a move. Makes no sense.
We weren't even born yet.
Makes no sense. Huh?
I said it makes even less sense because we weren't even born yet. We specifically us. We weren't even born yet when he loved
Yeah.
us.
Let's see. Chris M404. Let's see. You are wrong. Hannah prayed and prayed over and over with tears until God granted her request.
Let's go
Really?
to it. Where's
Yeah.
Hannah?
Let's go to that. I'm glad you brought that up. Where is that exactly? Let's go there. Oh, let's see. Before we get started on Samson, let's go there real quick. I'm so glad
It's in
you brought
Samuel.
up old Hannah. Yeah, it's in Samuel. Oh, it's in the Old Testament. Oh, well, let's go there, though. Let's go there. What's the actual address?
I see
It's
First
First Samuel
Samuel
chapter
2
2.
and First
First
Samuel
Samuel 2.
1, like 9.
Let's see. Let's see.
Why do people
Uh,
say that Trot's wrong, and then when he debunks them, they never say, "Oh, my apologies, I was wrong,"
I was
but we all
Because
sit up
that's
here
pride.
and we're all quiet.
I
all
thought
right.
We're
So, yeah. So First Samuel 2. It says, let's see. Here it goes. He had two wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other, okay, blah blah. And this man went out of the city. So we are in First Samuel 1. Let me see. Hannah 5. All right, 1 Samuel 1:5. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah. But the Lord had shut up her womb. Oh, that's funny. So Hannah had a womb shut up. Okay. And it says, and her adversary also provoked her sore to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. And as he did later, even she went up to the house of the Lord, and so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by the post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul. So we're just getting to all these coincidences. So it's just a coincidence. Her womb is shut up. She's bitterness and soul, and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid and remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but wilt give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Really? No razor. So his hair won't be cut. Huh. No razor. Hair represents faith in the Bible. Huh. No razor. We're about to talk about another man that razor ain't gonna come upon his head either. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, continued, right? She didn't pray once. She continued, right? And that's what the man's bringing up here, Chris. She continued to pray before the Lord. Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. I wonder what her imagination was thinking, right? Because she didn't speak out loud with her lips, right? And Job sinned not with his lips, which shows that it was in his imagination. That's where his pride was, bringing the truth all the way back, that it's always been about the imagination. It's never been about the physical act. So her imagination is doing something that it's supposed to be doing. That's what her imagination is doing. Let's see. So put away the and Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thy handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken. Out of her imagination, by the way. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And he said, Let thy handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house of Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. So basically, what's on the table right now is the only reason that Hannah received what she received from God is because she constantly asked him. And I couldn't agree more. Obviously, she had to. She did not have Christ living on the inside of her. Christ had not yet died and resurrected. Therefore, they are on that side of the cross, not this side of the cross. I'm talking about people today. But if you go study that story out, you'll see that it was her imagination that brought these things to pass. It was not because her physical fallen body begged and pleaded, because if I can recall, David begged and pleaded, fasting and praying for his son not to die, but his son did die. So it has nothing to do with you begging and pleading with God, especially now. So
that
the
still
Old
happens today.
Testament, if it's not understood that the Old Testament and the New Testament, when it comes to these kind of things, if it's not understood the difference, then you'll be confused. The Old Testament, because they were under the law, will make you believe that because of your much beckoning, that God will answer your prayer. That's not why her prayer got answered. Her prayer got answered because she prayed with her imagination. That's why.
Try it, you're a
That's
liar. The more you
And
beg, the more God listens. Period.
why. Yeah. Well.
more
Yeah,
the full belly, the more God listens. Yeah. But what do you mean by used your imagine? She used her imagination to pray, like the way that you tell us to read the Bible.
in your
We're
heart.
supposed to use our imagination.
She believed it'll happen.
Imagination is using your heart, like not just saying it out loud, but
Got it.
actually meaning it. So when I say imagination, I'm talking about the imagination the Bible refers to. Let's see, that's taking a Nazarite vow. That's right. That's 100% taking a Nazarite vow. She said she drank no wine. She's not drunk. That's exactly it. There'll be no razor come to his head. Exactly. But if you don't understand that those are shadows of Jesus, because Jesus was a Nazarene, he was from Nazarene. And if you don't know that hair is faith in the Bible, you're not understanding what kind of vow she's making. You don't understand the vow. That's why we're talking about Samson. But either way, this was before the cross. People after the cross, we already have the Nazarene living on the inside of us, and our hair shall not be cut away, which is faith. Our faith will remain because he remains. So understand the difference between before the cross and after the cross. It's very, very important. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to Samson. I guess that will be the refute of the month. God bless you. Let's see.
Judges.
Yeah,
14.
Judges. All right, so we did 13.
Yeah.
So we did 13. Yeah, so we're on 14 today.
So,
Hey, have we ever went over Hannah in detail? Anybody? I don't think we have.
No, we have not.
No, we need to. We need to. There's so much there. All right. Okay, wait a minute. But y'all read 14 already, right?
yes.
Yeah, we were 14.
All right. So
Yeah, but hit it verse by verse, try.
I fair enough.
Act
Fair
like
enough.
we didn't. Act
All
like
right.
we didn't.
Act like we did. Let's read it again. All right. So it says, all right, and Samson went down to Timnath. Y'all already looked up Timnath in Hebrew? Oh man, see y'all
Yep.
failing me.
No, we did.
It
One
means
of good point.
Enos.
Means
This idiot. You're such a
Means
goof.
means portion.
portion.
Portion. This guy, Dre, you're such a goofball, bro. I know you're over there laughing too. Big old head. All right. Let's see. And Samson.
You know I am.
Stupid, dude. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. So a Gentile. He saw a Gentile woman. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, so basically, I saw a Gentile woman. He says, get her for me to wife. So, yes, culturally, we can look at, why he's telling his mom and dad, get her for me to wife. Culturally, yes, we can say that. So back in the day, it was not out of the ordinary It wasn't out of the ordinary for parents to play a big role in people getting married. That is very true. I'll say something about that later on, but that part is true. So you can't just leave that out. All right. And it says, let's see, goes to take, man, where was I? Okay, so we're at 14:3. It says, then his father and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the dead? But notice what it says. It says, this ain't the first, and people say this is the first time. This ain't the first time. This is the first time we know about it. It says right here, then his father and mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren or among all my people that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
Bro.
You can just tell the behavior. But anyway, since we can't prove
that's
it.
a little racist, in my opinion.
Well, it might
Dog
be.
was
It
a
might be
player,
racist, but I
bro.
did.
He was a player.
Bro.
Well, Samson wasn't a player. He just he had a job. He had a job to fulfill, and so he's fulfilling that job. All right. So, all right. And it says, and Samson said, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Pleaseth. See, when your eyes have been descaled, things will start, the melody will start playing. Let me see if I can find my melody. I told you I was going to show you, Dre. Let me see if I got it in here. Let me see. I've even had people tell me to play it, like ask me if they could play my music that I. Oh man, I could have swore it was right here. Guess not.
So, that would be crazy. It'd be hard to do, but that'd be crazy. Technically, every word is a frequency. So you can.
Well, I know I got it somewhere then. I thought it was right here inside my Bible, but apparently not. Anyway, all right, let's see. It says, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Pleaseth me well. And the Bible tells us, and God planted all the trees in the garden that were pleasant to the sight. All the trees in the garden that were pleasant to the sight. You go study that out, you will see that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was not planted by God. Right? Do y'all remember the parable that talks about something that was planted by him and something that was not? Do y'all remember? Anybody?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's the one where he. Of course.
It was the one where the angel comes up, because remember the angels are the quote unquote reapers, right? Yeah, Jacqueline got it. The wheat and the tares.
Yeah. There you go.
And do y'all remember what it says? Oh my God, we got to go to the wheat and the tares. Nobody remembers that?
It says, "Let them grow up together."
No, before that. Before that. Nah, before that.
Yeah, we'll have to go to it.
All right, let's go to it real quick. Somebody pull it up. All right, well, read it.
Hold on.
Tell your kid to read it, bro. That your kid's been listening for so long.
I'm saying he should be talking by now. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh yeah, Lloyd got it. Lloyd got it right.
All right, well, let's read that part real quick. Yeah, Deanna, right. All right, CJ, hit it.
Well, then, you want me to do the sower?
Not just start from the from the.
Gotta find it. Okay, there we go. All right. So the kingdom of heaven Kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way.
Yeah, keep going.
But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence
All right,
then
right there. Stop,
fruit
stop, stop,
came?
stop, stop. This was the question. Didn't you just sow good seed? Hey, didn't you just sow good seed? What do people say today? No. All those trees were good. God put all those trees there. That's what people say. No, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, God put that tree there. It says right here, God planted all the trees that were pleasant to the eye. All the trees. God planted all the trees. Like, no, brother. No. It says that God planted all the trees that were pleasant to the eye. It's not saying God planted all the trees. It said God planted all the trees that were pleasant. That's why you got to slow down. Slow down. People's like, no, God made everything. They will lose their mind on you, man. They will lose. I have seen people like want to hit me because I'm telling them, no, brother, no, I'm telling you. I'm not trying to argue with you. And see, it's okay. It's okay to go around in circles when someone is 110% certain that it's not saying something. Hey, you can show them a few more times. You can, okay? Just don't be an idiot and start yelling at them. And then get mad you got punched or something, you know? So it wasn't until the much convincing is when that tree, the knowledge of good and evil, became pleasant. It was not pleasant. That's why it says, and when the tree became good for food and pleasant to the sight, she took thereof. And when it became good for food and pleasant to the sight. Don't you understand? It's words. You can convince someone to do something. How do you think people get conned every day? They're like, hey, we come to your house, man. We'll put on these panels. Bubba, before you know it, the electricity company will be paying you thousands of dollars a month. And they're like, oh, sign me up. Sold to the highest, the lowest bidder. Let me get a 5, I'm gonna get a 4, I'm getting a 5, boy. Sold. Merchandise sold. Why? Because it became pleasant. It became pleasant what they were saying. It wasn't pleasant when they were just at the door like, oh, hold on. My mind's telling me I better not listen to you because you're an outsider. Boy, let them speak for 30 seconds. They'll suck you right on in there. Oh, sir, we have a deal for you. Do you want the insurance company to start paying you? Do you want the electricity company to start paying you? Whoa, money? Whoa, cling, cling, cling. Yeah, whoa, what do I got to do? Let me tell you. All you got to do is put these panels on your house. Bubba, I'll tell you right now, you'd be like Dick and Jan. You hear me? You put these panels on your house and be making money, bro. I can't believe more people ain't doing this. Oh, sign me up.
Hey, I thought you were about to
Sold.
start singing.
Well, I can sing too. Don't let my
My mind's
charismatic attitude fool you.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But you have to understand what the Bible is saying. You have to understand what the Bible is trying to tell you. That it's all about words. That's what the whole Bible's about. Words, who you listen to and who you don't listen to. Don't eat of the swine. Don't believe what Gentiles say. Don't believe what Gentiles tell you. Why? Because you're going to get sucked into the trap. So it wasn't until the much convincing, the Satan convinced her. And she's like, wow, I don't know why I was told to stay away from you. You smart. Just like that. And then she went to Adam and she's like, oh, I got to tell you, I heard the best news today. Oh, yeah? What happened? Let me tell you what one of the trees told me. Yeah, tell me. They listen to the trees all day. Then she told him what one of the trees said, you know, the tree that wasn't pleasant. But he convinced her that it was, and it was a lie. And that lie killed him. And Samson says, please get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. She pleaseth me well. And if you don't understand that this is a Gentile woman, and you don't understand that Samson is a shadow of Christ, you don't understand what is it about this Timnath woman that is pleasing Samson. Does anybody know? Does anybody know what is it about this woman that is pleasing? Does anybody know? Well, let's go a little further. Y'all keep
Wait,
that question in the back of your head.
what does Timnath mean again?
I don't know. I asked y'all.
Somebody
Y'all
said
said
it. I
y'all
just
had the
can't.
answer.
Yeah, somebody said it. I just can't remember what it was.
Who said it? Who said it, guys?
It means
Kid
portion.
drinking coffee, portion, yeah.
So that portion
Means
pleases
portion.
him.
Okay, Lloyd said her body. No, Lloyd. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Remember, this is a shadow of Christ. This is a shadow of Christ. Woman's beauty is always pleasing. No, this is not about sex, guys. This is not about sex. Has nothing to do with sex.
Hilarious.
Has nothing to do with sex. Okay. All right. Okay, so her name means portion.
So portion. She's a portion of the daughters of the Philistines. Philistines, doesn't that mean like outcast? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's just go a little bit further. So let's not answer the question yet. All right. Let's not answer the question yet.
All right, cool.
Just keep that question in the back of your head. Remember, this is a Gentile woman.
A portion of the immigrants.
So this is a Gentile woman. Okay. Keep these things in your head. This woman's a Gentile. Samson has plenty of beautiful women to choose from, guys. Come on now. You can sit here and tell me there was no fair or beautiful women in the beloved family of God's people. No. No. So let's go. Okay, so she pleases. Let's see. Get her for me, for she. Well, where the heck is it?
And the Philistines
that's in
mean
3.
immigrants. Dre, Philistines mean
Yeah.
Yes.
Portion of the immigrants.
Philistines. Yeah. So this obviously, the Philistines obviously are immigrants, right? They're obviously not of the holy nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So get her for me. She pleaseth me well. Right? Okay. And if you study that out, she pleaseth me well. First of all, this is talking about the sight of God, guys. The sight, right? The eyesight of God. And when you study that out, she pleaseth me well. It literally is talking about she's right in my eyes, right? Matter of fact, go look it up.
I got it. I already got it.
All right.
It says to
All right.
be right, to be straight, to be level, to be upright, to be just, to be lawful, to be smooth, like I'll be smooth. To agreeable. What else you want?
Yeah. Okay. So just remember, she's right in his eyes. That's what you have to understand.
To esteem right. That doesn't necessarily she is right, but it esteems
right.
To esteem right.
Right, because it's from his point of view.
Exactly.
She's right. So it's not she pleases me because she is pleasing. No. She's right in my eyes.
Bro,
you have to understand this.
Fit. It says direct fit in the root word. It says direct fit. So it's a direct
what?
Fit. F-I-T. Direct fit.
Oh, direct fit. Yeah. But you got to understand, it's talking about pleasing in his sight. His sight. You have to understand that. That's why it's important to study this stuff out in Hebrew. Right? She's pleasing in his eyes. Y'all need to understand that. In his eyes. Remember, Job was a perfect and upright man. Who said that? Who said that Job?
Jesus
Who
Christo,
said? Who
God.
said that? Yeah, well, yeah, God did, right? God said
Yeah.
that Job. God said, let me ask Zai. Hey, Zai, let me ask you this, Zai. Zai, answer me as soon as I ask you this question. Did you do something to please God, Zai? Tell me in the comments what you did that's pleasing to God. Tell me. I'm listening. I'm waiting. What did you do to please God?
And don't be lying.
Okay, so did you do something to please God? The answer should be no.
He
So I'm
said
asking again,
believe.
did you do something?
He said believe,
Yeah,
bro.
but other than that though, what did you do when God looked at you? I'm talking about before you believe, brother. Before you believe, just you being Zai, were you pleasing to God before you believed?
I guess you could say, like, what action did anybody take? What physical actions could you possibly take to be pleasing to God?
Right. Okay, Zai is taking too long to answer. Well, Zai, to help you
He's
out.
trying to find a way out of the loophole. He's trying to find a loophole on you.
Oh,
That's what
I
he's
know.
doing.
He's trying. You're digging, Bubba. Hey, get out of your. It's my default only displeasure. Yeah, get out of your hadiths, bro. Look, I'm trying to give you the answer, bro, right now. Okay. Look, the point is you did nothing to please God, but He saw you pleasing. You have to understand this. Remember, God loved you first, not the other way around. Love is when you love someone who doesn't deserve it. That's what love is. You can only say you loved someone when you love them in the midst of them not deserving love. That's what love is. That is like the purest type of love you can have. So the fact that we were damned to hell and God loved us anyway, my friend, it doesn't show what you did. It shows who God is and what He did. He said, you're pleased to Him, to His sight, meaning you're worth loving. You're pleasing to Him. So you cannot keep the foundations of who God is. You cannot forget that when you're reading the Old Testament. You cannot read the Old Testament with what's pleasing to you. You have to read the Old Testament on what is pleasing to God, and then you'll understand what the Old Testament says, because you're reading it based on what is pleasing to God, not what is pleasing to you, right? So Samson, because he's a shadow of Christ, he tells his mother and father, get her for me. She pleaseth me, meaning she's pleasing to my eyes, just like Job pleasing to his eye. Job did not see himself as perfect and upright. You go look at the story, he falls apart like a $2 suitcase and completely just loses it, just starts crying and all this. But God said that Job was perfect and upright and escheweth evil. That's what God said, because God, we are the Timnath woman, the Gentile bride. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that this woman, that Samson, whose name means sunlight, that it's a shadow of Christ loving a bride who doesn't deserve to be loved. If you cannot see that, I am not sure what you're reading. Maybe you just like comic book stories and that's why you picked up the Bible. I'm not sure. But I'm telling you right now that the Bible is way more pleasing than just a comic book story. There's a lot more. The Bible is alive. Okay, so she pleases me well. So we're going to 14:4. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord. Why? How do we know it's of the Lord? Because it's using the word pleased. She pleaseth me well. That's one of those notes in the Bible. Anytime the word pleasant, pleased, anytime you see that word, 99.9% of the time, it's pointing to a very specific truth. But if you don't understand all the other little truths, it doesn't make any sense. You just think it's just a word that means that Samson liked her. And you're like, oh, well, it says pleaseth because it's the King James. No, my friend. There's a very specific reason why it says that. They knew not it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. Let me ask you this. What kind of occasion would you say that Samson sought against the Philistines? Does anybody know? Both physical and spiritual.
To take back dominion?
Yes, to give them back dominion, to have them grafted in, right? To have them grafted in, because could marry the title. Do you understand? Their dominion will come from someone else. Their dominion will come from someone else. Even the ones that Satan thinks that he has, even those will be taken away from him. You understand? The Gentiles were doomed. You have to understand the Gentiles were doomed, guys. And what Satan thought was going to work to his favor completely did not work to his favor. We are the Timnath Bride, the Gentile bride. And Samson is God fighting for us. It's a love story. The whole story of Samson's a love story for us. But when you don't read the Bible with your heart, you won't see it. It'd just be a story, another black letters on a white page story, and everybody's crying for help, blind, don't see, don't understand. And then when they start hearing this, too scared to believe that it's true. And I tell you, if a man all on his own could just make this up, like if a regular man, then there's no such thing as God then. If a man can literally write this book the way that it's written, I'm talking about the author. I'm not talking about the people that wrote it down. If a person can author a book to be both real physically and spiritually at the same time, and then it never be old, but rather present the whole time. So as soon as you pick it up and read it, it's about you. If a man was able to write something like that, then there is no God. And that's why people don't believe there is one, because they don't understand what they're reading. It just seems like a regular book. All right. So he sought an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Who had dominion over God's people?
The immigrants.
The immigrants, right? Which is the Satan, which is the father of the immigrants. Satan took Adam's dominion away from him. Remember. What is Israel?
What do you mean?
Christ is Israel.
The word for me, it's all parabolic. Yes, but it's also all true. So even though the story of Samson is a parable, it's a real story. All these people were real people. David was a real king. It is all parabolic, yes, but at the same time, it's parabolic in stories of real people. If any one of us was to just speak, like make up a parable and say, okay, there I was outside and I was fishing. And a man came by and said, can I have a fish? And I told him no. And I showed him how to fish, and he started catching it. And I'm giving this parable on how it's more important to teach someone how to fish than it is just to keep giving them fish. Well, those people that I'm using in my parable story, they're not real people. They never were real. They're just made up. But the stories of the people that God talks about, They're not just made up. They are real people. These people were real. And inside of their real story, it's all parables at the same time. So it's very important to say that, yes, all of it is a huge parable, but to say it in a way as though that it takes away or downplays that these are real people becomes a mistake. Because when you say that, and again, I'm not talking to the person that made the comment, I'm just glad they made the comment, that when people say the Bible's not all parables, a lot of those people think you're saying that it was only parables, like if nobody was real, like if the allegorical truths in the Old Testament were only allegories. That's all they were, meaning that the people were not real. No, these people were real. These people are real, man. The parables are different. God does not just think up stories and then these people are not real. No, man, it's completely different. These people that live their lives, there's parables, there's allegorical truths and parables in the stories, period. So it says, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. And what is Israel? What is it? Guys, anybody? Hello.
What do you mean?
Think
Is
about.
You mean in the sense of like the promised land?
Yes, that's what it is. Israel is soil. That's what it is. Do we have to go back? Do we have to go back to do we have to go back to the vineyard that the king wanted? Remember, Jezebel's husband wanted a vineyard. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, so throughout the Bible, you always see a piece of property wanted and fought over. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just reminded me of the parable where they tried to unalive the son to gain the vineyard. So yeah.
Yes, let's go to it. Let's go to that parable. Come on. Let's go. If we're gonna go through there, let's go through there then.
Somebody help me. I don't got my
CJ,
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Which one?
CJ over there watching Mary Poppins with this kid, not even paying attention.
So does this line up for the Lord's portion is his people? Jacob is the lot of his inheritance?
Okay, so Jacob's name was changed to Israel, right?
Yes.
Yes. Because there is one who is called Israel, and that's Jesus. Jesus is Israel. Remember, the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the lineage of who is the lineage that Jesus comes from? The seed. Remember, from the very beginning, there's two seeds.
David.
David, right? You will bruise his. Yeah, David. The seed, the promise through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob went all the way to David, and the promise finally came, who is Christ, because he is Israel, the promised land. Jesus is the promised land, the good ground where good fruit comes from, which is our heart, the parable of the sower.
Hey, it's Matthew 21.
And that's that was Matthew 20.
Matthew 21 or 20?
Well, find it first. Just find it, Aaron, and then when you find it, just let me know when you found it. So yeah, that's why Paul, think about it, guys, out of all the revelations, right? Allegorical truths, parables, out of all the ones that he could have told us, he tells us two very important ones. He talks about Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar being mountains. And then he calls Jesus the last Adam, but he makes sure to call him an Adam.
Are we,
Whoa.
are we looking for the workers of the vineyard?
It's Matthew 21.
So but Paul made sure that people who had a heart to study would see that Jesus was created, made, talking about his body. Everybody calm down, okay? I'm not talking about the spiritual G. I'm talking about the body that was in this world was made from the Spirit the exact same way that the first Adam was made. 100%. They were both made the same from God's heart, which is the good ground, which is Eden. If you didn't know, the word Eden means pleasant. So that's why Samson said, for she pleases me well. There's only one thing that pleases God. There's only one. And it's love. If you didn't know, love is what pleases God. Faith, without faith, right? So it's important to see and to understand that when you're going along and you're reading the Old Testament, the only thing that can understand the Old Testament, I'm not talking about the stories, guys. The stories are very important. I've heard people say some weird stuff about the stories. The stories are real, and not just that they're historically true. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people themselves. Very important. So like if you want to go see how people were treated by God in the Old Testament, you can go look at and see how they're treated. You can go look and see how they wept and had sorrow. You can pay attention to those things. Those things really did happen. But what I'm talking about is there's other things to look at too. And you can't just be a blind fool and act like that these things are not there. They're there. They do not take away from the true story of Abraham, of Isaac, of Jacob. They don't take away any. Those stories are true. Okay, if you want to look at it very superficially, that's fine, because you have to start there anyway. So if you want to look at how Jacob stole his brother's inheritance and Jacob ended up kissing his own cousin and got mad at himself, these people were real people. These are real lives. He worked 7 years for one daughter, and then he was tricked. And he goes, hey, man, I wanted the younger one. He's like, oh, well, isn't the older one supposed to be given first? It's like, oh, man, well, then I'm going to work another 7 years for that. I mean, golly, this guy slaved himself out, right? There's nothing wrong with that part of the story, man. You can't take that part of the story away. It's a real story. These are real people. The sorrow is there. Can you imagine all these years? He finally goes to see Esau and they hug for the first time after decades. Bro, that's a hard moment. Okay, so let's not take away the reality. I'm talking about the physical reality of the stories. They're true. But when you start telling yourself that God did not put himself in these stories, you're either blind or you're just prideful. You
I
either
got that
cannot
whenever you're
see.
ready.
Okay, you cannot see because you don't want to see, or maybe no one's shown you, or you're prideful and you need to become descaled. Well, if you don't want to be descaled, you might want to get out of this live, because I will ruin the Bible for you. I will ruin it. You will see things when the Bible says at the end times that he will pour out his spirit upon all flesh. I'm telling you right now that the Spirit of God is so strong that as soon as you start hearing a truth, you'll see a glimpse of it. It'll be that fast. You'll see it. And then you're either going to embrace it and take it for what it is, or you're going to swipe up and get the heck off TikTok and think somebody's trying to cast a spell on you, because you're going to see it. I'm telling you, when he talks about pouring out his spirit upon all flesh, and now he has all power and authority, all you have to do is start hearing it. Just like Adam fell because he heard a lie, you will come alive because you heard the truth. I'm telling you, 100%. It has flipped. The dominion has flipped. Jesus has all authority. It has all been given unto him. And now, because of him, not only do we have the dominion that was given to Adam to begin with, we have it in the name of God, who is Emmanuel, Jesus. Okay, so, all right, Aaron. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron, read it.
Matthew 21:33. Thanks, Benny, for that help, by the way. It says in 33, here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard, and hedged it around about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruit of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and unalived the other, and stoned another. 36 says, again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all, he sent unto them his son, saying, they will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us unalive him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they came, and they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? 41, it says, they say unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and he will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits of their seasons. Jesus saith unto them, did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same is become of the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him into powder. And when the chief priests and the Pharisees had heard his parables, they perceived that he was spake of them. But when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude, because they took him for a prophet.
Okay, and it says that what does it say? The land shall be taken from you and given to another? Is that what it says?
Yeah, it says, when the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, but when the husbandmen saw the son, and they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. Where is it? It
Yeah,
says,
he
they said
told
to him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall
And to
render him the
other,
fruit.
right, until other husbandmen, right? So here in the story of Samson, he could have married a woman from his own people, but instead he took out a Gentile woman. And you have to understand what he's giving the Gentile woman. If you don't understand what he's given the Gentile woman, you're missing it 100%, because he's given his heart. We'll see this when we get to Delilah. It says that he spills his whole heart or soul to her. He gives it to us freely, right? So,
Wow, that's
but
so good.
okay, so either way, the whole point of this parable on the carnal sense, not the spiritual sense, but on the carnal sense, what is the parable about carnally?
some crooked husbandmen, some wicked husbandmen.
Yeah, but it's a fight over a piece of land. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Correct.
Why is every story about fighting over land? Why?
Because the land is where the trees grow and the vines and the right. Well,
Because
Right.
that started
Right.
in the
Because the
before.
land is man's heart. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Everybody is fighting for man's heart. If you don't understand this, you're still confused.
The dominion.
Thank God. It is dominion. That's the dominion over the land. Dominion over the land. Dominion over the land. That's why Jesus is the husbandry. The first Adam was a husbandry. He was a gardener to take care of the land, to subdue the land, which is the heart. But a man cannot do it. Only God knows how to do it. That's why God had to come do it, so he can become the gardener. He is the gardener in your heart. Jesus is the promised land. He's it. He's the land. And when Satan did what he did to Adam, he took over the land. Don't you understand? He killed for the vineyard. Don't you understand?
So that's why it says the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation
Yes.
bringing forth the fruits thereof.
Yes.
Wow.
What kind of freaking fruits is in heaven? If you're not understanding what we're reading, you're all over the place. It's the heart. It's the heart. The whole time it's been the heart, the soil, the good ground. That's because we are the garden of Eden, that which is pleasant. Eden, pleasant. We're the garden of pleasant. You understand? Jesus is the promised land. He's it. And in him, there's a garden. And we are the garden. We're the temple where God walks in the day. We're it.
Is that why they thought that Jesus was the gardener whenever he was?
I don't know, Jessica, if you don't sound like you're underwater, I'd be able to hear you. What?
Sorry.
She's
Okay.
like, what? What'd you say?
Hold on, let me get out of this garage because maybe that's.
Speaking in tongues again.
She's
Oh, is
talking about
That's so, is
about
that why the women spotted Jesus and he was the gardener whenever they seen him?
Well, okay, check this out. Either that's a coincidence or it's not. Look, there's got to be a point where you have to tell yourself, first of all, let me say this. Of course it sounds ridiculous. So anybody out there that's shadow watching, there's probably about 500 of y'all. Of course it sounds ridiculous, man. Of course your flesh is like, oh my God, bro, it was a garden. They had gardeners out there, okay? Yes, no duh, bro. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. How many more times how many more times does the Bible have to show you that Jesus does not open and speak clearly? How many times do you have to see this? I'm so sick of people lying. You're lying to yourself. Jesus did not come out right and say, I'm God. No, he did not. I don't care for the Christians that say, yes, he did. No, he didn't, man. You're lying. No, he did not. He said it in a way that if you're not familiar with the Bible, you don't understand what he's saying. He did not come out and clearly say it. Stop lying to people. The reason why it sounds like he clearly says it is because you are familiar enough with Scripture to understand what he's saying. When he says, before Abraham was, I am. If you don't understand what I am means, if you don't know what that means, first of all, you have no idea what he's saying. But I'm telling you right now, the person that has no idea what he's saying, they are not going to come into agreement that that means he's God. You know why? Because they're not familiar with that. They have no idea what you're talking about.
well, try. You got to remember too, like,
and let me say this last part. But for you, whoever you are, that knows what I am means, for you that knows, when you say, oh, well, clearly he's saying, no, my friend, clearly he's not saying it. It's only clear to you because you're familiar with that part of the Bible. But the whole Bible does this, is what I'm saying. The whole entire Bible speaks to us in a way that the more you're familiar with it, the more you'll understand. It's just like anything else in life, man. The Bible's the same way. God, he does not say, I am God like that. So we can pull out all the verses and I will prove to you that that verse sounds like he's saying it clearly, but it only sounds that way because it's you. Don't you understand? It's you that understands what he's saying. It's not clear to a Gentile. It is not clear to a person who to an atheist. When they read that, let me say this. So you understand what I'm saying. If it was clear the way you're saying it, then an atheist would see it. Don't you understand? The atheist is blind. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see it because it doesn't speak to the flesh. And you keep trying to make yourself believe, no, God's telling my flesh. My friend, God is not talking to your flesh. No matter what verse you bring up, if you are not familiar with the Bible, you're not understanding what Jesus is saying. Stop lying to people. He is not clearly saying anything. Like 1% of what he says is clear. The rest of it, you have to dig in the word to understand what he's saying. Dre, my bad. Go ahead. What were you saying, bro?
No, you're good. It's just people have to remember how the Bible is written too. Like the fact that it says that she thought it was the gardener. You got to remember she told this story. Like the disciples weren't there, so she ran back to the disciples and said, "Man, I was sitting there doing this, this, and this, and I saw this guy, and I thought it was the gardener. Guess what? It was Jesus." So they wrote it in the story because that's
Yeah.
how exactly how it happened. And seven, there's
Yeah.
a guy in the comments. Seven rail blaze R is calling you a liar, basically. He's saying John 13:13 and Romans 10:9-8.
Yeah, let's go here. John 13:13. Let me see. I
Yeah.
think that's where he's washing the feet. He says, ye call me master and Lord, and ye say, well, for I am. He says, for I am. So what did I just say? I just said the word I am. I am. See, they understood, let me see, John Trailblazer or whatever. I don't think you're listening to me there, bud. You understand what he means when he says I am. You do. You understand. And you're over here saying that anybody that picks up the Bible, they should clearly understand what Jesus is saying. No, my friend, you have been misled. 100% no. You can go tell that to people all you want to. But Bubba, if they don't get in the Bible, they're not going to believe it because they don't understand the Old Testament where God is constantly saying, I am, I am. They don't understand that. You understand that. And because you understand it, you go, he's clearly saying it right there, Bubba. Yes, to us, he's clearly saying it. Don't you understand? You are spiritually understanding what Jesus is saying, but your flesh, my friend, don't be misled. Your flesh is not like, oh, yeah. No. If that was the case, there'll be a whole lot more people being Christians than there are today. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Yes, Trailblazer, or I'm sorry, Seven Railblazer, we are in agreement. We know what he is saying. But he is not saying it. Let's see. He said Romans 10:9-10. Oh, I'm so glad you brought up the Romans one. Let's go there. Let's go to Romans 10.
I got it if you want me to read it.
Let's go. Go ahead. Read it.
Romans 10:9 says, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation.
Yeah, 100%. We agree, brother. We agree to that. An atheist person ain't going to just believe that just because it's written in a book, right? Because the Bible says to them it's foolishness, but to us is what? Anybody remember the rest of that?
That's 2
No?
Corinthians
Life.
1:18.
It's life.
It's life and it's the glory of God, right?
Yeah, glory. Yeah.
To us, it's the glory of God. So we, brother, we know, or sister, I'm sorry, I don't know, Trailblazer, if you're a male, female.
No, he's a
You
guy.
know.
He's a guy.
Okay, but either way, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. To us, be clear what he is saying. But, young, may the force be with you. May the force be with you. All right, so let's get back to Samson. Guys, we're talking about vineyards. We're talking about inheritance. It's constantly, and throughout the Bible in its entirety, there's this constant battle of a vineyard or a piece of property, a ground that is fruitful. Nobody's fighting for the desert, okay? Nobody's fighting for the desert. They're fighting for good ground here. All right, so, and that was the end of 4, where Samson said he sought an occasion of the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. They had control, dominion over the soil. All right, let's see. Okay, Trailblazer, you get one more, Bubba. After this one, we're done. All right, let's see. Excuse me. What are you trying to say? Is 1 Corinthians 12:3, but definitely would let have a comma. What? Okay, it's the last one you get, Bubba. I'm giving you one more. I done did 2. I done did 2. I'll do one more for you.
I think you meant to say but definitely would love to have a convo. I think that's what he's trying to say. Or would like to have
Maybe
a convo.
so. Let's see. 1 Corinthians 12.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, "Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost."
Okay, so, I mean, we're in agreement. I don't understand why you even brought that up. What? Okay, he said 12:13. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he
12:3,
said, you got to see the
12:3.
comment though. He said, what you're trying to say is that verse. So he's saying that he's agreeing with you, basically.
Okay. Yeah,
12:3.
so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm going to read 13 out loud myself. Yeah, it says, for by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. Let's see. For the body is not one member, but many. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's just move on. CJ, were you going to say something?
No, I was saying he said 12:3.
Oh, my bad. I'm over here reading 13. Wherefore I
Already
give
read it.
you to understand that no man speak. Well, 13 just went along with.
Yeah.
I mean, wherefore I
It's like,
give.
oh, okay.
Huh?
I said,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was kind of funny. Okay, it says, wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost. 100%. Yeah, 100%. So, but because we're talking about Samson, so let me go back to Judges 14. We're at 14. Yeah, 14. All right. What's up with the late start? Hey, Steph, don't come in here pulling my ear, man. Don't come in here with that. Hey, did you just show up, by the way? Did you just show up? What's up with you showing up all late? First off, ma'am. Oh, you just showed up. That's a violation. You know what? Don't worry about it. Steph, we got a YouTube channel, so you can go to YouTube. It'll be posted in probably about 2 months. I was looking for you this. Yeah, no, actually, Steph, thank you for saying that, man. I forgot to, so often I go to conduct some business at other ranges. I went to a range this morning hoping that, but we couldn't get anything to work. So the reception out there is completely trash, obviously. But that's a rare occasion. Most ranges I go to, the reception's fine. This one was not. And so, yeah, Trot, don't invite us for dinner and be late to serve the meat. Go! You had me messaging CJ asking. Yeah, my bad, guys. We're on it today. We're on it right now, though, so I apologize. I know I can't say.
When you say nothing would work, you mean nothing on the range would work, or your phone or your electronics?
Okay, well, I am talking about the service is bad, but when I say nothing would work, they have an air system out there that causes some of the moving targets to move around, and we couldn't get the system. Like there was a leak somewhere, and it just, we didn't have an expert, the machine expert or mechanic out there. We kind of had to figure it out ourselves, and it just took so long to get everything started. So yeah, but anyway, so let's move on. All right. Philistines, dominion. All right. So the last thing we read is that Samson had an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Remember, Israel is what's considered the promised land. Do not forget it. That's the promised land. Remember, we are promised a land. Doesn't the Bible tell us that he leads us to green pastures? Where does that say that at? Anybody know?
Psalms
Isaiah,
23.
Trot on.
Psalms.
Trot. Yeah, let's get to it. Read it real quick. Trot on that Asian time today.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 23, and somebody read it.
I hate it when I know the answer and the phone is all the way across the room, and I'm like running to the phone and somebody says it for me.
There's Flip. I knew he
Just because,
would.
like, I got one.
Yea,
If
though I walk through
Jess
the
was in
valley
here,
of the
she would have
shadow
said
of death,
Jesus.
Yeah.
will that rod and thy
Jesus.
staff may comfort me, that lead me.
All right. Is he, you reading
Okay,
it
who's
or
reading
just
it?
remembering?
No, go ahead.
Who's reading it?
Is it? I got you. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures."
All right,
He lead-
stop. What green pastures? What green pastures?
The promised land.
The
Iceland.
promised land. Come on. The promised
shoot.
land, guys. Does
Oh,
it say
shoot.
desert pastures? Does it say desert pastures? Does it say the desolate pastures? No. It says green.
The thorny
Because
pasture.
green pastures come from a good ground. Right?
So
All right.
Iceland.
So so after green pastures, go ahead, continue, CJ.
All right.
No, actually, Iceland. Yeah, Iceland's. It's funny. Iceland's more green and Greenland's more ice. But anyway, go ahead.
He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul.
What is that? Still waters. What is that?
Waters. Well, Jesus said, "Peace, be still," and boom.
Peace.
That must be the range calling them again.
Shoot.
Drew, what's up? What's going on, James? Thank you, brother.
So he said, "Peace, be still," right? Because the stormy waters, right, was taking everybody's eyes off of Jesus, and Jesus calmed the storm. So go ahead, keep reading.
He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
Okay, what's the path of righteousness? What is that? The path. What is that?
The way.
Okay, but what's the way?
Jesus.
What is that?
The narrow road.
Yeah, but what? What is the narrow road leading to? What are these things leading to, guys?
Garden.
Eden, man. Eden.
Yes. That's where he's leading us, to the promised land.
That's where the sword of fire is, leading the way, guarding the way.
Yes.
Guiding the way.
When they were in the desert, before the splitting of the Red Sea, or matter of fact, we can do it after the splitting of the Red Sea. What did they follow?
The pillar of fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
A cloud and
pillar of fire by night, and during the day would they follow?
Cloud.
And what was that?
The glory
That was
of
God's
God.
presence. That was the presence of God.
Yeah, but what?
The rock.
Right, but it was a spirit, right? It was a spirit. That was the fiery sword. That was the fiery sword, guys. That was leading. What was the whole purpose? Where were they going? Where was Moses taking them?
The promised
land.
To the promised land. To the promised land.
I don't know where.
Who actually led them into the promised land? Who led them in there? Joshua. What was Jesus' name in Aramaic?
Yeshua.
If you don't know that's Joshua, Yahshua. It's a coincidence that Yahshua led the people to the promised land. That's a coincidence too.
And the law doesn't lead you to the promised land. Joshua does.
The law does not lead. Your works does not lead you into the promised land, my friend.
No coincidences, Trot. No coincidences.
Right, but I want to say this. Don't get that twisted. I'm going to say this like I always say it. If you go to Walmart and you buy your groceries and it was $150, and then 10 minutes later, your friend that you ain't talked to in 20 years calls you and says, "Hey, man, where you been, bro? It's been so long. Come see me. I'm at 150 Runny Lane." And you're like, "Whoa, 150. wow, my food was $150. 10. Bro, don't start doing those kind of things. Okay, you got to be careful with that. I'm not talking about those kind of coincidences. I'm talking about in the Bible, this book that we carry around that we call the Word of God. That's the area that I'm talking about. No coincidences. Don't be start playing around out here in this world, and before you know it, you become a cult leader. Everybody need to calm down. Calm down with all this. Listen, I'm talking about in the Bible. In the Bible,
Right.
there is no coincidence inside this. Now, does that mean that God cannot use things like that around us? No. He can. But what I'm telling you is understand how the Bible explains it first before you start dabbling in all this other stuff. You're going to invite me to your house, and before you know it, you're going to be a freaking warlock or a witch because you don't went off the deep end. Listen, stay in the Word. Understand how God uses the no coincidences in the Bible. All right. We say, hey, I'm going to play that number 150. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Please don't. Please don't. All right. All right. Where are we at? Philistines' dominion over Israel. Okay, we're at 14:5. Then went Samson down. How funny. He went down. Samson went down. That's funny. Samson went down. Jesus was up. He came down. Samson went down. Why is it wording it that way? They're going to say, because where Samson was, the Philistine area was actually down there, and he went down there. Yeah, but it still doesn't take away the spirituality part of the story. It still doesn't, no matter how you want to flip it. Why would he even say down? What does it even matter? How come it just didn't say and Samson went over there? Why does it have to say down? These are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself. Then went Samson. What?
It says a foreshadow.
Oh, okay. And then it says,
Brother Ab live over there.
Went Samson. Do what?
I said, Brother Ab live over there. Brother Ab live. Go ahead. Go on, try.
All right. Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnath and came to the vineyards. Who had dominion at this point?
The Philistines did.
The Philistines. And sunlight came down to the vineyards where the Philistines had dominion, where Satan had dominion. So Christ came to the area, to the land where Satan had dominion. The vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. So what roared against Samson, against Christ? What roared against him? Spiritually.
Satan.
Satan. The adversary.
Right, the adversary. There you go. Okay. And behold, a young lion roared against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid, and he had nothing in his hand. But he told not his father or mother what he had done. Excuse me. And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well.
I can only imagine what people say that means.
If you are not descaled after we're done with Samson, you just don't want to be descaled, and you can swipe up or swipe left. Matter of fact, you can share this to a bunch of people and tell them to come in and mock. And before long, they'll be mocking you back because they will get descaled. Either you or them. Man. That dust, man. Those roads out there were dusty. Inhaling all that dust. All right. So it says, and he went down and talked with a woman, and she pleases him well. All right. And after a time, now remember, she pleaseth him well is talking about the way he saw her, not the way she saw herself. Right? It was you that pleased God. How do we please God? Anybody know?
Faith.
Jesus.
Faith, right?
Yep.
Jesus is faith. But faith, yes, 100%. So God is pleased only because we believe. That's it.
Somebody said communion.
God.
Yeah.
If it's on the third Sunday, only if it's on the third
Oh,
Sunday.
Right.
some faith.
So picture the conversation at the lady at the well, at Jacob's well, by the way, the lady at the well.
Hey, some of the comments is crazy, Dry.
Well, what are they saying?
Boogie Bravo 666.
Hold on. Don't tell me. Hold on. Don't tell me. Let me look. Hold on. Give me a second. Don't tell me. Don't ruin it. Let's see. Boogie Bravo. Oh my God. 666. Huh? I have a personal relationship with Jesus, and he said he doesn't love any of you.
Hilarious, bro. That's too funny to me, bro.
We might as well just shut down. Might as well just close it up.
Oh, well, there it is. There you have it. There you have it, guys.
Try. What does
Funny.
it mean
All
by
right.
Rent.
Sorry, rent.
Tore, ripped apart.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Tore, ripped apart. Oh no, let's have some fun with it. Let's go look it up in the Hebrew. Somebody look it up in Hebrew.
Is that it? To lay into?
I don't know. Did you look it up in Hebrew?
No, I'm getting there.
CJ?
I'm getting there. It said, because it says like a child, so that's why I said.
Oh, yeah. The Lord mightily came upon him and rent him as he would have rent a kid. Yeah, but the kid's not talking about a child, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Not that kind of kid.
Sorry, making a joke.
This guy thinks Samson is Hamas or something.
Kind of along the lines of a spoiler rod, hate child, but what other people think that means.
CJ, anyway, can you just get there, CJ?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm just filling the time.
It's like, calm down. I'm
working here, all right, there we go. There it is. My bad. All right, we got H8156. And that means to divide, cleave, part, split, cleaving, cleft, to tear into two, cleave into.
All right. So to tear into two, to rip apart. All right. So yeah, and it says
destroy.
Yeah. Okay. So it was ripped apart. It was destroyed. All right. So we get it. All right. Well, what is this? Go till 1:30. Go till 1:30. 1:30. Oh my man, y'all are tripping. Who made that?
1:30. What?
Somebody said try go till 1:30. What?
So would that be like to vanquish? Right. To vanquish, like we talked about yesterday.
What? What are you talking about? See.
Go ahead.
No, what are you asking, man? What?
I said, would that be like to vanquish? What? Because we talked about yesterday.
Okay, CJ, when you say that, yeah. That what?
Rent.
What? We're still talking about rent? Oh, my Lord. Okay, my bad. My bad. Okay, so we're still talking about rent. Okay, what? What about rent?
I said, so would that be like vanquish, like we were talking about yesterday, overcome what the Hebrew is to vanquish? I was making a connection.
Well, yes, it is to overcome. Yes, to overcome. Yes. All Smiles said you got to pay that rent.
100%.
You got to pay that rent, bro. That's what it means.
It also
all right,
means
let's move on.
Cloven-footed. So it also talks about that as well. So it's not a coincidence either.
No, it's not. All right. All right. It says, like he ran a kid and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father and his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked to the woman, and she pleased him well. And after a time, he returned. Oh, what is this? Okay. And after a time, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. So it says, after a time, he returned to take her. So he came down once, and he came down again to take her. He came down once, and then he came again to take her. No? No? Nobody? Okay. So he came once, came twice. All right. And it says, and he went down, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. He returned to take her. He says, and he turned aside. That phrase is another note. Bing. It's used in the Old Testament a lot to show when there is this spiritual, like turning around, not physical. So now in the story of Samson in real life, did Samson really turn his head in real life? Well, yeah, he did in real life, right? So he could turn his head and look at the carcass. But that phrase "turned aside"
Is
is
that like
used to talk about a
repentance?
spiritual. No, it's like spiritually acknowledging something,
Oh,
right? It's spiritually acknowledging something. How do we know this? We see Moses, right? Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this burning bush. I will now turn aside. So his turning aside, so this turning aside that Moses did is basically hearing, for us today, is like symbolically representing us turning from the physical world and acknowledging the spirit. Do you understand, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it says
So he
in,
turned.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
in Strong's Hebrew 5493, it says to turn aside, depart, to turn aside, turn unto, depart, and it goes on that way, but depart from a way. And so, yeah, to come to an end.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, let me say this: the Hebrew does not fill in all the blanks, guys. So the Hebrew helps you understand what certain words mean in our language, but the Hebrew does not give you the answer to the parables. It doesn't give you the answer to allegorical truth. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
It's the spirit that reveals the truth.
Amen.
What's up, Crywolf? What's up, John? Welcome to the live. Well, we know thy words is sweet like honey. Maybe that's what the bees in the lion mean.
We were talking about that earlier, and the bees are like the fruit of, so it's like the congregation as it comes out of the honey. So the bees in
All
that
right, where was I?
context actually means congregation.
All right, where was I at?
8.
Where are we saying?
Verse 8.
Yeah, but we're okay. Yeah. So after a time, he returned to take her, and he turned aside. Okay. So the phrase, real quick, turned aside. It's literally spiritually acknowledging God. That's what turn aside means. If you remember in the Old Testament, you'll hear God calling Israel a stiff-necked people. He says it because they're not turning aside and acknowledging. He's not saying that their physical head does not know how to turn. He's not calling them stiff neck because their physical necks were stiff and they all walked around like robots. That's not why he's calling them stiff neck. He's saying that they don't turn aside and acknowledge him. Moses turned aside and acknowledged him. Samson turned aside and acknowledged him. We tracking?
Yes.
100.
Okay, so that's why God constantly called them a stiff-necked people, because they're not turning aside and acknowledging him. And again, as a people, not individuals, guys. See, God was able to use individuals, okay? But remember, we're all one body, one spirit now, because we all have turned aside, and all who have turned aside to acknowledge God, they become part of the body. We become the bride, right? We become the Timnath woman who is in the vineyard that was taken.
And try that
So
would
Right?
be that would definitely be pleasurable to God. Like he said, I take no pleasure when the wicked die. Turn to me and live. Return to me
Yes.
and have life.
Right. Turn to me. Yes, 100%. Acknowledge me and live. Yes.
So does that, where it says he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, is that like he turned aside so he saw that the carcass, the body of the lion dead, that leads, the enemy leads to death, which is also
Yeah. Yeah.
like
We're
the
going
opposite
to, so I'm going
side
to
of
go.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go. Yeah. I'm going to go over that whole thing, right? Because it's actually really important. So, okay. So, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent the kid, went down, he returned to take her. Okay, so 8, yeah. Okay, it says, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. Notice, he turned aside. This is a spiritual acknowledgement. You have to understand this. So he went to the carcass of the lion. It says, and behold, there were a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. If you don't understand what bees and honey represent, and I'm telling you right now, guys, always look it up in Hebrew, but I'm telling you through training and experience, the Hebrew is not going to give you the answer to the parable. So if you think that it's going to like give you that, that's not what it's going to do. It's going to tell you what it means in English, but it's not going to, like, for instance, there is nothing in the Hebrew that's going to tell you that turned aside is a spiritual moment. Nothing in Hebrews is 100% going to point to that. You have to be familiar with the Bible yourself. The Spirit will show you what turning aside is. The Spirit will show you what being a stiff-necked people is, what God is saying there. You can read all the Hebrew you want. You're not going to get the answer that way. So read the Hebrew so you can understand in your own language what is being said, but only the Spirit can show you the melody of the Bible. Okay, so don't get it twisted. Don't think just because you looked up the Hebrew that you're somehow just going to get infamous wisdom. It only helps you understand what is being said in English. That's it. That's all it's doing. Okay, now, with that being said, if you don't understand what bees and honey represent, not what they mean in English, all of us know what a bee is. All of us know what honey is. What does bees and honey represent in the Bible? Anybody? Bees and
The
honey.
word and
What is
people.
that?
The word and people. The
Well,
word
it's
and the
definitely
spreading of the word.
it's well, Yes, but it's spiritual revelation is what honey is, right? So it is the word, but it's the Rhema word. It's not the black letters on the white page. So we have the black letters on the white page, right? Which is the story. And then in the story, you have the Rhema, which is the God breathed part. The Bible tells us that itself, the Bible is God breathed. But the breath of God is not it's not on the black letters on the white page. It's within the story. For instance, again, all of us, we are all God breathed because we're born again. But if any one of you were sitting across from me, I'm not going to see the God breathe with my physical eyeballs. I don't look at you and say, yep, I can see it. There it is, just bouncing around on the inside of you. I can't see the God breathe. Just like when a man picks up the Bible, you don't see the God breathe, man. You don't see it that way. We discern it and we spiritually can see it. That's why it's important to be descaled so you can see the parables and the allegorical truths, so you can see what Jesus was authoring the whole time. Even though man were writing the black letters on a white page, the whole time Jesus is authoring this whole thing in the Rhema, in the God-breathed part, not the black letters on the white page that your physical eyes see.
Try.
Right? So honey is spiritual revelation. An example of that is Peter. Jesus said, who do people say that I am? Oh, well, some people say this. He said, well, who do you say? Oh, well, you're the Messiah. You're the Son of the living God. And he said, flesh and blood, meaning your eyeballs and the black letters on the white page did not tell you this, but my Father, which is in heaven, told you this. Spiritual revelation.
Try.
That's the honey. Yeah, so.
And the B would be wisdom, right?
Yeah, we're getting to the B. We're getting to the B. Yeah, B. Well, yeah. Let me just give me a second. I'll be right back. Give me a minute.
B actually means Deborah, which is crazy. I just looked it up.
B does?
Yeah.
What word did you get? What
So you probably looked up bees with an S, but if you look at B by itself, it's Deborah, a judge, which we know that Deborah was the wisdom, that she's the one that gave wisdom or sat under wisdom in the palm tree and gave wisdom to Barak. So she represents wisdom.
yeah.
So
What's the number you got?
Would carcass be like something unclean?
it's a,
1682.
just a dead body.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So, Dre, that has nothing to do with like a witness, uh, like the message going out to be.
I mean, I could see that 100%. I just 100%. Like I said, wisdom does deliver the honey, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Wisdom, that wisdom from above, like
Yeah.
in James, like in Proverbs.
Yeah, the book of Proverbs, yep.
So he takes this, he
Hmm.
feeds it to his mother and father and doesn't even tell them where he got it. It's,
Yeah. So you think this was kind of what Peter maybe saw in his vision? Something similar, maybe?
What do you mean?
With the sheet coming down? I know what everybody assumes it is, but I
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
mean,
I'm back. Okay, so we're at 8. It says, after the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. Okay, so again, being familiar with the Bible, you got Deborah. right? She's also in the book of Judges. And trust me, the Bible says that that Deborah's the judge. People read it and they go, yep, Deborah's the judge. They're not understanding that Deborah is where all the judges go, my friend. This is a huge, it is literally, it's so huge to see what Deborah is, who she is, what she represents. And it says that Deborah sat under the palm trees of Deborah. And Deborah's name means honeybees. Honeybee. That's what her name means. So when you're not following what people's names mean, along with the allegorical truths, along with the parables, when you don't have all three of them lined up, then her name just means honeybee. And what does it matter? Oh, it matters because Deborah is representing wisdom. The feminine, the female part of wisdom in the Old Testament, wisdom, the spirit, the attribute of the spirit, the attribute wisdom is always referred to as a female in the Old Testament. That's part of the parable throughout its entirety to help you understand what's being referred to in this area. It's not a coincidence. Barak is the judge. If you don't understand that Barak is the judge, where is Barak going for wisdom? Wisdom. He's going to Deborah, and it's just a coincidence that her name means honeybee,
If I may, all beehives have a queen, right? A queen bee.
That's right. That's why the Bible talks about honeycomb. It talks about honeycombs in the Bible. And so Deborah, it says that Deborah sits under the palm trees of Deborah. In the temple, if you look at the walls of the temple, it's palm tree in a man's face. Palm tree in a man's face. There's palm trees all over the place because palm trees is pointing to wisdom. That's what palm trees is pointing to. And in the man's face, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but it's talking about Christ. That's the man's face that you'll see that's all along the wall and palm trees. And it says that Deborah sits under the palm tree of Deborah, meaning there is no further head than wisdom. So therefore, wisdom receives counseling of herself. There is no further head. So Barak suck out wisdom, and every judge that you see are guided by the Spirit, which is Deborah, in a sense of the parables through the Bible, so you can understand that Deborah is not the judge. Barak is the judge. If you pay attention to the way the Barak talks to her, he said, "Oh, I'm not going without you." This is a wise man telling God, I'm not going without you, which is wisdom. I'm not going to fight these people without you. Nuh-uh. It's not going to happen. So what we see is a type of meat. Do you understand? Paul says, I came to you to feed you meat, but you're still babies. I have to give you milk. And he talks about a meat of the word, the meat. He talks about it. That's the meat, the spiritual revelation, the meat, the deeper parts of the Bible, not Trinity and oneness and water baptism, once saved, always saved, laying on the hands. He said the Bible in the book of Hebrews tells us, let's move on to more perfect teachings, meaning there is deeper things to learn, and we're still arguing about whether or not Trinity and oneness is proper, or whether you should be baptized in water or not, whether you should be eating pork. Such a superficial way of understanding God's word. There are deeper truths in the Bible, 100%, period, the end, period. And it's our job, like Proverbs 25:2 tells us, it is our job. It's the glory of God to conceal a matter, but it's the honor of kings to search those things out. We are the kings that search out the deeper things of the Lord, because that's where our heart is. The Bible says that you're rewarded diligently seek him, investigate, not just read the black letters on the white page. Who authored this? Where's the Rhema? Where's the God breathed part at? Oh, it's there. It's there. You just need to become descaled. So it says 9, and he took thereof in his hands and went on eating. Excuse me. So he ate this meat, right? He ate this honey, this spiritual revelation, this food. He says, and he came to his father and his mother and gave them, and they did eat. What is eating in the Bible?
Believing.
What is eating?
Believing. Yay. I know another one.
So he tells them something. He just don't tell them where he got the information from, but he tells them something. You really think this is just, you really believe that the only thing God is trying to teach us is that Samson came to some deadline and barbarically took honey out, gave it to his parents, and goes, well, I don't want to tell them where I got it because they're not going to eat it.
It's unclean.
You are missing it huge. If you think that's all the Bible is trying to tell you, my friend, I apologize for whatever spiritual leader has failed you. I apologize right now for them. I apologize. I really do. You have been led astray for a very long time. Now, when I say astray, I'm not saying they were leading you to hell. I'm saying they kept a piece of something away from you that none of us is supposed to be kept from, which is very important. First of all, your soul is more important for you to believe in Christ, the gospel, and that is plainly given to us on black letters on the white page because it's been revealed through the Old Testament. But make no mistake, revelation came from the Old Testament before Jesus physically walked this world. Make no mistake about it. The Rhema came out of the Testament. Make no mistake. It was there. That's why we're going over it this way. So your relationship in your mental head can start behaving properly. So you can become sober, be soberly minded, 100% confident in what the Old Testament has been telling us the truth this whole time. And there's always someone ready to steal it from you, to take that truth away from you, because they don't want you to see how deep this goes. It does matter. Your relationship gets so much stronger when you can see that Christ has been here the whole time from the very beginning. It does matter. So he took the honey, gave it to his parents, didn't tell them where he got it. When you see Jesus here, he has a conversation with a Gentile woman. And some people say, well, they're kind of Jew. They're not Jew. Man, those people were called dogs. You can say whatever you want. But he's talking to the Gentile woman, the lady at the well. He's talking to the lady at the well, which, by the way, is the longest recorded conversation that Jesus has with anyone, right? Because it's his bride, if you don't understand. It's his bride. That lady is representing the bride, the Gentile bride. And he's talking to her and, but the disciples brought him food and they said, hey, we brought you something to eat. He says, no, I have meat that you know not of. And if you're not understanding what just happened when Jesus went out there to talk to that lady at the well, then you don't see the lion rent. You don't see it. You don't see Jesus destroying the lion one day at a time. And he goes and tells this lady this truth, and she goes and tells the man. Why was it a woman? Why is it always a woman running around telling men all these things that are happening? But he said, I have meat that you know not of. Doing that defeat, giving this lady the truth of who he was, and she went into the Gentile nation. And I understand what y'all say. Well, they're a half Gentile, half. Yeah. I know. But she went to this other part And if you pay attention, he gives her heart. He gives his heart to this woman. You can see it. Just look at everything he's saying to her. He pours his heart out. She goes and tells these men, and that was the honey. That's what feeds Christ, is that kind of honey, that kind of defeat. Do you understand? Defeating Satan. All right. And it's meat for us too, by the way. Make no mistake. And his hands, he told him, okay, so we're at 10. So his father went down into the woman, and Sam made there a feast. That's funny. Aren't we supposed to have isn't there a last feast? Made a feast, for so used the young man to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle. Isn't it just like Jesus to see a bunch of unsaved people and start speaking riddles? Man, I'm telling you, man, God's got a sense of humor. His sense of humor is remarkable.
Absolutely.
He just met these people, man. He just met these people. You're right. You're right. It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that this guy speaks riddles to strangers. Why are they strangers? Are they friends? Are they friends yet? Are they strangers? Does he know them? So,
Better
he said,
yet,
I will now put forth a riddle. What do you say, Dre?
I said, better yet, they don't know him.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know him. So he gives them information to figure out who he is, right? To sound like Jesus gives us information. And then to this day, people say, nah, he's just a good guy. Nah, he's just a prophet. Nah, he was the Messiah, he wasn't God. No, he was the Messiah, he was God. No, the man was just, everybody's got an opinion on who he was. You know why? Because he speaks in riddles. That's why. This whole idea that he speaks clearly is such a lie. It is a lie. He does not speak clearly. But to those that have ears to hear, it is very clear. It is very clear what he's saying. But if he spoke clearly, meaning 100% carnal, everybody would know who he is because he would just say it, right? Quote unquote, he would just say it. So he says, if you can certainly declare it me within 7 days, that means at the perfect time, the perfect day, the day of the Lord, right? If you can declare it to me, 7 days of the feast, and find it out, you figure it out, find it, find it. It is your job to find it.
Let him.
You got people that don't believe it. You got, what?
I said, let him who's reading.
Yeah. But it's everybody's job to find him. It is not your job to force him on anyone. It's everybody's job to find him. So an atheist says, if God was real, then they say, hey, brother, here's the Bible. Go find him. Go find him. Because the truth is, when we find him, we will see that he's been knocking at the door the whole time. And that's when we tell the truth. He found me. When you find Christ, when you think it's you that's searching for him, it was him the whole time that was searching for you. The truth will be shown to you throughout your life. You'll be able to look back and say, oh, my Lord, I see it. I see we're here the whole time. And this is what causes people to bow down. They don't bow down because they have to or because they're forced to. They bow down because nothing is greater than love. Nothing. Nothing is. So, and it come to pass, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I think I went too far. Sworn beast told him not the line. Yeah. And it came to pass, let's see, companions. He says, if you can certainly declare it within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. Okay. If you didn't know that the sheets and garments is literally talking about the God's remnant. It's talking about new clothing. Do you understand? That's all it's talking about. It's talking about you're naked and I'm going to clothe you. That is what this is saying. Now, in Samson's story, it's just talking about clothing, garments. That's all it's talking about. But when you can see that that Samson's a shadow of Christ, he's literally saying, if you can figure out what I'm going to tell you, then I will clothe you. And that's Jesus saying, if you can figure out who I am, I'll clothe you. If you can figure out who I am. Who do people say that I am? If you can figure out who I am, I'll clothe you. And the whole Bible is a huge parable waiting to be found. And it's your job to find it. All right, 13.
Does it?
He said, but if you cannot declare it to me, then shall ye give me your garment. And if you don't know what that means, if you don't know what that means spiritually, it's talking about you're going to remain shamed, naked.
Bind
What?
him and cast him into outer darkness.
Yeah, pretty much. He says, but if you cannot declare it to me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. And they said unto him, put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto them, out of the eater came forth meat. Out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. Man, excuse me. All right, where am I at? Let's see. 14 came sweetness. All right. So, we talk about being familiar. Talk about being familiar with the Bible, right? So let's look at some of the things that we have to be familiar with so the rest of the parable continues, so we can understand these allegorical truths, right? So he says, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. What does the Bible say to us about sweetness? John, in the book of Revelation, the angel tells John to eat scroll. And John says, give it to me to eat. And when he ate it, he said it was sweet as honey in his mouth. It was sweet as honey. And the story where Moses is in the desert, and it says that there was no water to drink, and they called the place Mara, for it was bitter. It was bitter. They couldn't drink it. And it says that God showed Moses a tree. And when Moses cast that tree in the bitter water, it became sweet. So if you're not understanding what bitterness is, what sweetness is in the Bible in its entirety, if you're not understanding what tree brings things to life, you're not going to understand any of this. It makes no sense to you. But what is bitter? What is bitter in the Bible?
Mara.
A desolate Mara. Well, the Mara is the Hebrew word, right? But what things are bitter? Desolate ground. A barren woman. A woman who cannot have children in the Bible are considered bitter. Do you understand? Mary was bitter. All the women that we went over that were that could not have children. They were barren, desolate ground. They were bitter. That's why Naomi said, remember, talking about Ruth, Naomi and Ruth, Boaz, right? Boaz and Ruth. Ruth's mother-in-law, her name is Naomi, which means pleasant. And because her life, there came obviously a hard time, or her sons and her husband died. Because of this, Naomi said, call me no more pleasant, which that's her name, Naomi. She says, call me no more pleasant, but call me bitter. She wanted to go from being pleasant to being bitter. See, she was not a barren woman. She had kids. She was pleasant. But she said, call me no more pleasant. Call me bitter, for the Lord has done bitter with me. But what she doesn't understand is Boaz redeemed her. Notice how she saw herself as bitter. She saw herself as bitter. But through Boaz, he redeemed Naomi and Ruth, both of them, because he was the nearest kinsman. And God is a God of redemption, and he redeemed Naomi. But see, Naomi's real name was Pleasant. She's always been pleasant. It was her that said, call me bitter. I'm showing you that there's two strong words in the Bible that are always used to describe where a person, what state they are in. And it's not a coincidence that the seed of Jesus came through barren women. All the men of God, a lot of them that we look up to, all those women were barren. They were desolate. Do you understand? They were not good ground. And in real life, they were not good. They were dead spiritually. You have to understand this. These people were not resurrected in their spirit. That is what barren is talking about. Not just that they couldn't have children. There are people today that are walking around, they're not saved. They're bitter. They're barren. They're desolate ground. They're not part of our body. All of us are one body, one spirit through Eden, through Jesus, through Eden, the pleasant land, the heart. All of us are. But a non-believer is still desolate. They still need to be revived. They still need to be brought alive. Do you understand? They still need to be brought alive. They need to go from bitterness to sweetness. But how are they going to become sweet if the tree of life is not cast into them? The water was bitter. Moses and all of them were in the desert. The water was bitter. Showed Moses a tree. He didn't tell him what to do with the tree. But you have to understand, Moses is learning. Moses is learning. God is showing him things through pictures. And it says that when Moses took the tree and cast it into the water, it became sweet. I'm telling you right now, you go find some bitter water and go grab a tree and throw it in there, it's not going to make it sweet. It's not going to make it sweet. So it's important to understand that all the women, a lot of the women, that the lineage through what Christ came from, they were all barren, right? Because the miracle of life took place in each one of them, just like in each one of us. You were bitter. You were barren, meaning God is telling you to be fruitful and multiply. That's the fruits. The fruits is who's coming to life under you. Where's your spiritual fruit? Not just the love, joy, peace. Who is coming alive through your words? Who are you bringing to life with your words? What people around you can testify through Christ and say, what I heard coming from this person brought me alive? Who can testify to that about you? That is, you'll know them by their fruits. That's what that means. You'll know them by their fruits. Are they bringing people alive, or everyone around them is still dead and dry and desolate? Are they coming alive? And if they're coming alive, then you'll know. You'll know them by their fruits. You'll know. So, is it a coincidence that Mary's name literally means Mara? That's where the Mary comes from. It comes from the word Mara. Mary, bitter. She was barren. Each one of us has to be impregnated with Jesus. Do you understand? The seed of Christ has to be pushed down inside of our soil so we can come alive. That's how we are born again, through his birth. He's the seed. Mentioned in Genesis, he is the seed of the woman, but he's a spiritual seed of the woman, wisdom. Not just Mary. It's not just talking about Mary. He's the spiritual seed. Him. The physical Mary cannot put Jesus in each one of us. Use your head. Use your head. The physical Mary who died, okay, she cannot put Jesus in all of us. She cannot do that because Jesus is spirit. But that spirit has to be planted in our desert, our desolate ground, our bitterness. So he goes in the belly, the womb. Do you understand? You're pregnant with him. And when he starts growing, because he is the rose of Sharon, when he grows, you grow. You come alive when he comes alive in you, because he is the tree of life. He has to be planted in you. Okay? It doesn't mean he's not alive until he goes in you. I'm talking about the spiritual seed has to enter all of us, and we become quickened and awakened because of him. So I went over all that because those things have to be understood. So when you're reading the Bible, you can, send it.
Do you want to explain the Rose of Sharon and how it's like dead, but it's not dead and it comes alive? Like that's
No, go ahead. Hey, go ahead, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
no. I wanted you to explain. I could explain it, but I figure you talked about it, which
Go ahead. I mean, no, you brought it up. No, go ahead, bro.
So the Rose of Sharon.
I could easily go.
It just.
Let me say this before. Let me hold on, Dre. Let me say this before you say. So, guys, if you've looked at our picture Descaled, I've even had it's kind of girly. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's off of another drawing that I did, and Dre just made it better for Descaled rose up there, because Jesus is the rose of Sharon that comes from the thorns. Okay, that comes from the desert. So I've probably never fully explained the picture, but we don't have a rose up there just to quote unquote make it girly. It's the rose of Sharon, if you don't know. So, but Dre, now go ahead, bro. Talk about it.
No, I mean it comes from like it looks like a thorn. It says it comes like sort of like a thorny type looking thing. It looks dead if you look at it. Like my mom has one, but they look dead. But the minute that you put water on them, they like immediately like blossom and they come alive. But they never were actually, like, they were dead, but they're not really dead. But when you put water on them, they come alive and start flourishing and give them flowers. So it's like that's why the depiction of the dry desolate land or the dry rose of Sharon, but it's really not dead. It just needs the living water for it to come back to life. So it's real interesting to see one of those things. If you see one in real life, they're pretty cool. I just wanted to make a note of it.
I'm glad you brought that up in the Psalms. It talks about the rose of Sharon, and it's again, just like Dre said, you can find them in desolate places in the desert. Like you can find. What's crazy is it's a flower. I mean, if you want to be technical, it's just a flower. You're not supposed to see flowers in the desert, and but it's just another amazing, like, very weird thing that is shown to us to just show like the wisdom of God, how he puts himself everywhere in the Bible. And it is our job to search that out. why would you not care to search these things out, man? It makes no sense to me when people say, oh, man, I don't know. Some of the stuff, man, that you're saying, I just don't know. And I'm like, brother, have a good day. Whether you see it or not, that's irrelevant. But there's been, it's so amazing. I don't know why people wouldn't care enough to dig in further. But so let's continue. So let's see the sheets. And he said unto them, all right, so we read 14, and he said unto them, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And so it's important to understand what the meat and the sweetness is, which is honey. It's very important to understand what that is. Same thing Jesus said, I have meat that you know not of. While they were trying to give him physical meat, he was being fed spiritually because of the defeat of Satan day by day. And it says, and they could not after 3 days expound the riddle. And it came to pass on the 7th day. So it brings up 3 days. Now remember, they were told by Samson, right? It says, let's see. He said, I will now put forth, this is in 14:12. I will now put forth a riddle unto you, if you can certainly declare it. Sheets, but if you cannot declare it, then you shall give me sheets. This is 13. And if they said unto him, put forth thy riddle that we may hear it. And he said unto them, an eater, hold on. I missed something. I want past.
Hey, tried another thing that popped up with that riddle. Out of the eater came forth meat. What came to mind was that verse in Isaiah where it says, "Hell hath enlarged her mouth," right, to receive. You know how hell is enlarged her mouth to receive. More and more, right? And so like that's like the eater, but we know out of the eater came forth meat.
Yeah, so the eater, well, we know that the lion represents Satan, right? but to point out like the characteristics of Satan, we know that the Bible makes it clear that Satan is a taker, not a giver. Okay, so when it says out forth, from the eater came forth meat, the eater is referring to Satan being a taker. Satan's a taker, not a giver. He takes. I tell people all the time, are you more of a giver or a taker? Do you always take? I want to learn, but you're not feeding nobody else. You want to be fed all the time, but you don't want to feed anybody else, right? We go to Descaled every morning, but I'm not going to talk to anybody about being descaled. That characteristic comes from Satan. It doesn't come from God. But we all have to get there on our own pace, right? So there are going to be some people that are used to take, me, gimme. They're very used to that. But eventually it's going to be overridden by their heart. They're going to either be talking to someone or something's going to occur where they're like, I have to say this to this person. Excuse me. The Spirit will, you're talking about grieving the Spirit. Listen, the Spirit wants to tell the truth to people. And if you're holding back telling the truth to people, you want to talk about grieving the Spirit, my friend? That's truly grieving the Spirit. Because sin is not only when you do something wrong, it's when you know there's something right to do and you don't do it. Okay, so not feeding, do what?
I'm sorry, brother. On that note, I got to speak. How you were talking about,
go.
This is a taker, not a giver, which lines up with Zechariah 11, the idle shepherd that will not feed the flock, will not help. So thank you, brother. I had to open my mouth and speak on that.
No, you're good. No, Lloyd, man, you're always good to say something here, man. Yeah, so, and there's so many scriptures that point out the characteristic of Satan. And again, right, be wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. We're supposed to know the fleshly part of us, right? That's why it's important when we go over spirit, soul, and body. It's very important. It's vital to understand what part of you does what. Which one do you listen to more? Which one should you listen to more, right? And to see ourselves as a three-part being so we can understand how to defeat the flesh every day, because we understand that part of us constantly wants to be fed, whether it's entertainment, no matter what it is, but it's always taking. So anytime you give, it's not your flesh giving. As a matter of fact, your flesh is going to question why you're giving. And I'm not talking about money, guys. I'm talking about time. Talking about money, time. It could be either one. Okay, but what's wrong with sitting down and taking some of your time out your day and giving it to someone else for their sake? It's okay. I'm telling you, if you find someone to love in your life, you will be happier for it than you ever were trying to make someone love you. Don't try to focus on how to get someone, how to treat you a certain way. Why don't you do what you're supposed to do and go treat your neighbor and love them as you love yourself? You know, I have friends all the time. They have things that need done, maybe around their house or whatever. And sometimes you could tell that they don't think anything's supposed to be free. And they're like, you know, they'll tell you, oh, no, I'll do it. And I'm like, no, bro, I'll come do it. No big deal. And some people do not know how to just receive freely. Now, because of their flesh, yes, it is true that some of them will laugh and be like, oh, he's going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You know, it's okay. It's all right. Let the flesh continue to make them believe that they're taking. One day, that person will realize that you did nothing but give. It was never about what they were getting out of it. It was what God was trying to show them the whole time, that there are people that love to give, and they're going to ask themselves, why? Why are you always giving? You know, I'll go do something for free. I do it all the time. But I'm saying this to prove a point. This is a very good place to be when you're a very giving type person. And people will say, are you getting paid for that? And I'm like, oh, man, what they're saying is you need to eat something physical when you're giving something spiritual. And you'll know deep down to say, I have a meat that you know not of. And so what atheists will tell you is, oh, it makes you feel good. So they can't understand why you will give. So they say, oh, well, you do it to make yourself feel good. Do you understand? They worship their belly so much that they think that when you give or help somebody, you do it so you can worship your belly. What a sad time. I say this all the time. I just really don't believe that many Christians do not realize what nasty of a thing occurred in the Garden of Eden. They don't. They have no idea that when God told Satan, to the belly may you go, and may you eat dust all the days of your life. No longer a belly of living water, but a belly of bitterness. People do not realize what nasty of a thing occurred. It was so disgusting what happened. But we're so used to this life, we don't realize how nasty it is. So when then someone wants to give out of their spirit, their time, to maybe sit down and descale someone, sit down and show them that there is more to God than you have heard. And I'm going to show you. They think you do that because you just want to make yourself feel better. You just want to pat yourself on the back and people give you kudos. But what's funny is nobody ever knows. Nobody knows when I go to a buddy's house and do something. Nobody, my wife will know because she lives here with me, but nobody else knows. See, y'all may know I'm doing it, but I'm not telling you who it is. So what does it matter? I'm just saying that you can see it in the people's face, man. When you are a giver, they don't understand. And they're like, well, are you getting paid? You know, I had it's happened several times, but the last time it was a whole college security team, the police department up there. I trained every one of them, and I did it for free. I trained every one of them for several months on on how to conduct themselves in a active shooter scenario or any type of scenario you can actually acknowledge. I went over all of it. We didn't just go through classroom, but it was hands-on. And I did it for free. And I had people tell me, oh, bro, you're not charging them? And I'm like, no, bro, like, I'm not going to charge them. No, they need this. Don't you understand? When a person is a giver, they know that someone needs something. And I'm telling you right now, if you know someone needs something and you tell yourself, however you're convincing yourself that you're not going to give it to them freely, you need to check yourself on that, man. I'm telling you right now, you need to check yourself on that, because imagine being a big ministry. Just hear me out, and I'm not condemning anyone that sells material. If you think that's what I'm doing, you can just see your way out, man. That's not what I'm saying. Don't twist what I'm saying. I'm being very genuine right now. But there are people that they don't have resources. They don't understand God. They don't even have a phone, man. There are people that are like that. And they go to conventions and they see these people talking about God and all this. And a lot of these people bring material and they're selling it for like $100. It's like a 5-disc series on healing or a 5 series on prosperity or whatever. And they know that if they had that material, not only could they have a little better understanding of God, but they would be able to give it to someone else to understand. But they can't purchase it. They don't have the money. Right? What I'm saying is the Bible makes it clear that we're supposed to give freely as it was given to us. If it wasn't given to us freely, then something already started wrong in this understanding. But when a truth was given to you freely, it makes it that much more easy to give it away freely. Now, there are going to be some people that buy those materials and they're going to give it away for free. They're going to preach it for free all day, every day. I get that. But we are supposed to be givers, not takers. Do you understand? So I always admire people who are selling material, but they say, hey, look, if you don't have the funds, we'll give it to you for free. But guys, whoever wants to purchase it, we would love for people to purchase it. I love the option that a good minister gives people an option. Hey, look, if you don't got the funds, you don't got the funds. We're not going to hold this material back from you. But if you do have funds and you want to pay something, I love that option. I think that option is wise. It gives a person a choice rather than show up to your convention looking at this material, knowing that, man, there was something in there. I know I can learn something out of that CD, So because we're talking about giving and taking, Satan is a taker. He's not a giver. And, this is not to condemn. We all still live in the flesh body. So there's always going to be temptation on everybody that's here. There is always going to be temptation for you to take. But I'm telling you, if you find someone to love and you just go all in on this person and you love them, it will literally set you free from things that you never thought you could be set free from, because you're using God. You're putting yourself on the back burner and you're putting someone else first in your life. And when you do that, man, your life will be amazing. It'll be an adventure. Having God in your life is an adventure. I've been all over the world. I've been all over the world, man. And I'm telling you, giving freely for God has been more of as an adventure than anything else that I've done. You never know. I mean, stuff just comes from nowhere, out of nowhere stuff, man. But all right, let's see, where are we at? Let's see. Sheets, okay, 14, let's see, instead of them, out of the eater, nope, that's riddle. So 15, and it came to pass that on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee in thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? is it, let's see, is it not so? So basically, carnally, they're like, hey, man, let's see, who's this? Shirley, we are in the book of Judges. Right now, we're going over the story Samson. We are in Judges 14, and I just got through reading 15, so I'll be reading 16 here in a second, but I'm going to go over 15 a little bit. So it came to pass it says, and it came to pass on the seventh day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband. So on the seventh, so after 3 days, they're like, man, we can't figure this out. So it says right here, let's see, out of the eater. Yeah, and they could not, so this is 14, and they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. So they couldn't do it in 3 days. And it came to pass on the seventh day. So they came to her, the wife, on the seventh day, that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband. So basically, we're going to burn y'all with fire if you don't get the answer from Samson, because basically if we got to give him 30 garments and 30 sheets, you came, so this wedding happened to make us broke? Like that's what happened? And Samson's wife wept before him. It's so funny, man. Hold on a second. All right. Trying to fix this. Okay. And it says, and Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost but hate me. Okay. So here we go. The Bible tells us to fear not, but we see this woman in fear. And she tells Samson, you hate me, and says, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it to me. See, what's funny here is remember, guys, she is representing the Gentiles being brought in. So why would Samson have to tell her a riddle? Okay? Why would he have to tell her a riddle when Jesus told the disciples, he says, are the things that I say, are they riddles to you? Because remember, they asked Jesus, why do you speak to them in riddles? He says, well, what I'm saying, are they riddles to you? And they said, no. And he says, because what I'm saying is for you to hear, but to them, it's riddles. See, the truth is, Jesus doesn't speak in riddles. So let me say this. If you're reading a parable or a riddle and you don't know what it means, you need to ask yourself, why do I not know what this means? When Jesus told the parable of the sower, when Jesus tells the parable of the sower, when he was done telling the parable, that's the one they didn't know. And they said, hey, what does this mean? And he says, know you not this parable? He says, then how then shall you know all other parables? Know ye the parable of the sower. It's the only parable that Jesus is holding on to that says, if you want to know what all the other parables mean, you better make sure you know this one. So it's like the Rosetta Stone, right? The Rosetta Stone that was found back in the day that had 3 different languages on it. And one of the languages was hieroglyphics, right? Egyptian writing from way back in the day, ancient Egyptian writing. No one knew how to read the Egyptian writing in the pyramids and caves and stuff. Nobody understood. But because we found the Rosetta Stone, which I believe was Hebrew, Latin, and hieroglyphics, I believe. If you have to go look it up, go look it up. Please don't execute me. I can't recall all the 3. But we understood how to read 2 of the languages. So with the other two languages, we were able to decipher the code, if you will. We were able to understand the hieroglyphics. And now we were able to read the hieroglyphics. So the parable of the sower is a Rosetta Stone. And I'm telling you, it is true. When I fully understood what the parable of the sower was really talking about, it literally opened up all the other parables in the Bible. And people hate me for that, but whatever. They hated Jesus first. Okay, so we go to, let's see. All right, so here's Samson's wife crying. Okay, I'm looking at my screen now. I'm closing his eyes. Wow, what are y'all saying? Is there a question? Y'all just in here talking. Y'all talking trash. Kit Kat. Aaron. All right. So she wept and she said, you hate me, you don't love me. So this is Judges 14:16. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and you have not told me. And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it to my father nor my mother, and shall I tell you? But he's talking about the parable. You have to understand, he already loves her. They're married. And she's over here worried about a parable. He's not, come on. Samson's not stupid. Come on, guys. Come on. She's wanting to hear the parable. She's wanting to hear the parable, the answer to the parable. Samson already knew what was going on. And it says, and she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. So Samson, he ends up telling her, right? Because she's already won his heart over. You understand? Notice that the answers, right? The answers are given to the bride. The answers are given to the bride. And so now we're at 18, Judges 14:18. It says, and the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day, before the sun went down, Why is that important? Before the sun went down. Anybody know?
Didn't it have a time limit of 7 days to answer the riddle?
No, I'm talking this before the sun went down. That phrase.
Let's
Why
talk
is
about
that phrase important?
Passover.
What? I didn't hear nobody.
Before Passover, right?
I know they had to take him down before the sun went down.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So before the sun went down, they had to take people off trees and crosses, right? Before the sun went down. When Joshua led the men into the promised land, it says that they were the 5 kings of that land hid in a cave. And Joshua said, seal him up in the cave. They sealed him up in the cave, and they went and destroyed all the people in the land. They came back to the cave, and he said, open the mouth of the cave. They opened the mouth of the cave, and Joshua went to those kings and put his feet on them. And he told the captains, put your feet on them. He's basically telling them, you're the head and not the tail. And this is how the people that come against you, this is how they will be treated, like this. And it says that Joshua slew the 5 kings. If you don't understand that the Hebrews, there's a few million people here, guys. Okay, approximately 2 million left Egypt. So there's over 1 million people here, and you mean to tell me that the king had to come kill these 5 kings? He could have had any of his captains do this. But the reason why Jesus authored this Bible is because it had to be perfect. Because it was Yeshua, the Messiah, that slew the kings that were in the promised land who had no right to be here. Do you understand? That's why Joshua slew them. And that's why there was 5 kings, and each one of them hung on a tree until the evening. They were taken down because when Jesus came here, all those kings died in his flesh on the cross. That's why all those kings were hung on a tree and they were taken down before the sun, in that evening time, just like Jesus's body was, because that was the timing that he was going to be taken down. And that's why there was 5 kings that Jesus defeated. 5. Because it was by his grace that this occurred. 5 is the number of grace in the Bible. And it says, and those kings were put back in that cave and sealed up. And it says, and they are there till this day. Meaning that Jesus's body was put in a cave, in a tomb. And when his flesh died in that cave, it resurrected our heart. You understand? Stony heart. Those caves, those kings were put into a stone, sealed, a cave, a stone, sealed. Jesus was put into a stone, sealed. The mouth was sealed. And when his flesh died, which he was already dead, but when he was sealed in there, our flesh died. And when he resurrected, our stony heart became flesh because of his resurrection. I will remove your stony heart and I'll replace it with the heart of flesh. The promised land was given back and the gardener had dominion again. The first Adam job was to be the gardener of the land, to subdue the land. And now the rightful heir to the vineyard, the inheritance, the rightful heir is now the gardener. Is it a coincidence that Adam died in the vineyard and Jesus became resurrected in a vineyard? Not a coincidence at all.
Victory.
Okay. Victory, 100%. All right, so the man of the city. So we're.
Or the tiger lion in the vineyard too? In that story that we're reading this morning, that's why I'm bringing this up, because Samson is a shadow of Christ. It says that Samson came down, went to the vineyard. That's the land that everybody fights over, right? The Bible says that Goliath called out for the champion to come out. And David came out and defeated Goliath, which is a representation of Satan, because Goliath's name means exile. We were exiled from Eden. Mankind was. We were separated from God. David's name means love. So love conquered exile. Samson defeated the lion. Samson's name means sunlight. So it was God's light that defeated the lion. The Bible tells us that Satan goes to and fro like a lion, seeking who he may devour, who he may eat, what he may take, because Satan is a taker, not a giver. That is 100% that this happens in the vineyard, because the whole Bible is about a big piece of property and everybody's fighting to take it. Except the problem is people think it's a physical land, and it's a spiritual land. It's man's heart. Each one of us, after being born again, were created in the image and likeness of the last Adam. Our fleshly body was created in the image and likeness of the first Adam, the fallen Adam. Adam, the first Adam, was created in the image and likeness of God, not us. Not us. Adam died. He died spiritually, just like you would. The day that you eat of this, the day that you believe what Satan tells you, and it's the same today. If you believe what the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, what's good, what's bad, what's good, what's evil, if you believe that, you cannot be set free. You're still in bondage. You cannot be set free.
Amen.
He told Adam, the day that you eat, the day that you believe Satan, you shall surely die. And he believed him and he died spiritually. So every child that Adam had the image and likeness of fallen man. They did not have the image and likeness of God. Is the only man that walked this earth that was image of the invisible God. The image of the invisible God was not here before Jesus came. That is a lie. We are resurrected through his image. We are resurrected through his likeness. Anyone that is trying to tell you that the image and likeness of God was on earth before Christ came, they are not telling the truth. I'm sorry. I don't care how nice you want to put it, my friend. It is not true. It is not possible. Adam and Eve died spiritually, 100%. And when they died, the likeness was not the same. And then what was the next thing that happened when they died? What was the next thing? Does anybody remember? The first thing that happened when they died, what did they see?
They got booted out the garden. They got booted out the garden.
No. The first thing.
Covered. They got covered.
No, that's not the word. Nope, that's not the word the Bible. No, it doesn't use that word. It doesn't use that word. It doesn't use the word shamed.
They were
Nobody
naked.
knows? They were naked. They saw themselves naked right there. The image was not the same. The image was not the same, guys. We had to be covered with the garment of Christ, resurrected through the Spirit first, resurrected through the Spirit to have the likeness, and then covered by Christ to regain the image that was taken away from Adam. The problem with people today is they are not as familiar with the Bible as they are claiming. They aren't. We had the image and likeness of fallen man, the first Adam, and now we have the image and likeness of the last Adam, who is God. And they want to argue and debate about it because they need to validate to themselves whether they're right or not. I'm sitting there telling you, I know you don't like it. I know. Trust me. I get it. But if you don't understand that Adam and Eve died and then they saw themselves naked, you are not understanding that they were no longer the image and likeness of God because of that we came through Adam. It is true that God created Adam in his image and his likeness, 100%. But to sit there and say that you cannot see why Paul the Apostle called Jesus the last Adam, if you don't understand that, I'm telling you right now, 50% of what we are is completely missed. You're not understanding why Paul is calling Jesus the last Adam. You don't get it. You just think it's words. It's way more than that. You can read all the Greek Hebrew you want, but the parables and the allegorical truths play a part, and only the Spirit can show you that. Only the Spirit can. It ain't just head knowledge. You don't Hebrew and all the Greek, and then God snaps his fingers and you get it. No, you have to put in the time and effort along with the Spirit. So sola scriptura, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The scriptures along with the Spirit. Anytime you have somebody ask you, do you believe in sola scriptura? Tell them the other side of the truth. Say, no, brother. That matter of fact, that's Satan saying that. Notice they're leaving something out. That's not even a true statement. There is no such thing as scripture alone. That's a lie. Jesus is the begotten, the beloved Son of God. And Satan says, well, if you really are a son of God, why does he leave out part of, how come Satan's not telling the other truth there? The begotten, the beloved, the begotten Son of God. Why is he leaving that part out? You know why? The same reason that someone would say, oh, so sola scriptura? So just the scripture? No, my friend, no. The scripture along with the Holy Spirit. That's the statement that you're asking. Oh, well, that's what I mean. No, that's not what you mean. Sola scriptura has nothing to do with the Spirit. It's just the scripture. An atheist man that don't care to hear God, he can read it too. And he could talk about David and Goliath, and you need to fight your giants in your lifetime. That's what he's going to get out of it. Because there's no spirit. There's no validity in anything that the Bible says. There's no reason to believe it. It's just black letters on a white page to a man that's mind is scaled over. Like Saul of Tarsus. Mind is just scaled over, full of pride. Job. Right? The Leviathan. He's the father of all children of pride. It's pride that doesn't want to see the Rhema. It's pride. So he says, so we're still in 18. Judges 14:18. And the men of the city said unto him, that's the seventh day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? But notice that the quote-unquote answer to the riddle is still not answered. It's a question. So I ask you today, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? What's the answer to these two questions? Does anybody know?
Jesus Christ, the Word.
That is the answer. That's the answer. What is sweeter than honey? The Word is sweeter than honey. What is stronger than a lion? The Word. The answer is Jesus. Jesus is the answer. And he said unto them, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found my riddle. So he knew automatically that y'all got the answer from my heifer. He knew.
And Trot,
every once in a while I call my, yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you let us know why the heifer failed? Why Delilah failed? She was threatened, right?
Delilah?
Yeah.
You talking about Delilah or right now? Right now we're at the Timnath Woman.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
We're not in Delilah yet. It's all right. We'll be talking about this all week. Yeah, so this is the Timnath Woman.
So she was threatened,
Timnath
right?
Woman.
She was threatened and
right.
her family. Okay, so she fell into the snare. She feared man. We know it, to fear man is a dangerous trap or a snare. So she was lacking in trust, right? Not only did she not know the answer to the riddle, because if she did, she would have gave it right away when she was threatened. But she was also lacking in trust. We're told not to fear man. It's a dangerous trap. Yeah. It's a snare. And she fell in it. She fell in that trap.
Yeah. Right. So you have the actual story of Samson, and then you have the shadow, right? So as the shadow goes, this is definitely someone that is allowing fear to take away a truth. You have to understand, this woman's already called a wife. Do you understand? The Timnath woman is already the wife of Samson at this point. It calls her. Let's go to it just to be clear. Right here.
Yeah,
16, Judges 14. Go ahead.
I was going to say, while y'all go there, I was going to say, and yeah, she loved her life more than she loved her husband. And Judas loved silver more than he loved Jesus.
Yeah, so Judges 14:16, and Samson's wife wept before him. They're already married. It's very important to understand that. They're already married, okay? So what we see is people come up to her, okay? Obviously, they're not saved because they don't have the garment of Christ, right? That's why Samson put out a riddle, so they can receive the garment, okay? But they went and they plowed with his heifer. This is talking about the spirit, okay? If you don't know that, I'm not going to go through all that right now because it's already 12:45. I'm trying to get this done by 1. We can go into some other details later. But I will say this. He said, if you wouldn't have plowed with my heifer. Now watch this. What does the Bible say about plowing and looking back? What are we plowing with? What plows? Matter of fact, what's being plowed?
Be a field, right? Like a
It's a field, right?
So
This goes all the way back to a field. So the Spirit is what plows the field. The Spirit is what sows the seed. The Spirit, that's why Paul said, who's Paul and who's Apollos? It's God that gives the increase. For one man plants a seed and another one waters it. But plowing the field with the heifer is referring to the Spirit, the red heifer. Okay? It's referring to the Spirit. And so when he said, you only got the answer because you plowed with my heifer. Now, in real life, Samson obviously is talking about his wife. But when you can see that this is referring to a shadow of Christ, when you can see it, you understand where they're plowing with the heifer. The answer only comes from the Spirit, guys. The answer only comes from the Spirit. This answer here. Okay, so, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon. Someone look that up real quick in Hebrew. And slew
It means
30
to be
men of
weighed
them.
out.
To be weighed out. Yeah. He went to Ashkelon, right, to be weighed out. That should be no brainer. But it says, and he slew 30 men of them and took their spoil and gave changed garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled. Now you can understand, guys, two things at the same time. You have a shadow occurring, but you still have a real Samson. And Samson, if you don't know, bro, Samson is a trip, okay? If we stick just to the carnal story of Samson, Samson was something else, dude. So it says that anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as his friend. So Samson had a friend, but he was so angry that his wife gave the answer that he leaves, and his wife was given to another. Okay, let's not forget the carnal story. I'm going to go ahead and use some wild verbiage. That would suck. I don't know any other way to put it, man. That would be hard pill to swallow, that you get so mad that you leave, and your wife is given to another, right? Again, I'm talking about the carnal story. But guys, it is about to be one.
Hey, Trot,
Again, I apologize for the yeah. What's up? Send it.
before you wrap it up, I want to speak about the last part. So he goes down to be
Go ahead.
weighed out, right? He goes down to be weighed out, and because he's betrayed 30 companions.
Yeah.
Jesus is
Yeah.
weighed out for 30 pieces of silver. Now, Samson goes down
Yeah.
and defeats 30 men of Ashkelon and brings back garments. And Jesus goes down to hell and comes back and bring back garments for us, right? He defeats hell and death and
Yes.
bring back garments for
Yes.
us and, well, for those who
Yes.
crack the riddle. And if you understand and believe the gospel, you have cracked the riddle.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the good news, right? The good news is that God is no longer angry with you, because he went to the middle of the earth, right? For 3 days. He came back with the keys of hell because he went to the center of the earth, and everyone is able, if we plow with the proper heifer, right? We're each able to receive the garment of Christ, because that is the prize, right? Let's just real quick look at the way it's worded. So we go back to Judges 14, and it says, let's see, the past. All right, 12. Judges 14:12. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you, and if ye can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets. So he's going to give them something. So there's a reward when a person finds out who Jesus is. There's a reward, and it's the remnant, the garment of Christ. It's the whole depiction of Jacob and Esau. Jacob being the one that is smooth skinned, not covered, no garment, but the firstborn is hairy and red all over, because David was ruddy, Jesus is ruddy, Adam was ruddy. And because of the depiction that we see with Jacob and Esau, Jacob receiving the inheritance only because the father discerned the firstborn. And those are the garments that we get. The fabric, hairy and ruddy. That's what the father sees. The father doesn't see you, Jacob. The father sees the firstborn. That's why we are co-heirs. We are co-heirs with Christ because of what he did. So, oh man, there's a few people that want to come up. Oh, heck, Dre. How long Dre been out?
Man, this was awesome and lovely and all of the above. I'm gonna drop down so somebody else can come up and give their last couple cents.
Well, I mean, we're about to bounce. There's some more people that want to come up. I don't know if Dre had something to, because guys, it's, y'all know we normally get off at 10. I was obviously delayed, so we stayed a little bit longer, but it's about to be 1. We're shutting it down, man. So,
No, I
but
was just
if
gonna
any,
tell you, try.
go ahead.
When you ask who is what does it say about plowing? It says those who pick up the plow and look back are not worthy of the kingdom of God, and only Jesus can do that. He is the only one that can plow and not look back.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Guys, anybody on the panel got something to say? Say it now or forever.
So to
Hold
look
your
back,
peace.
to look back shows a lack of trust, right? We got to look forward.
Yeah.
We need that trust.
Right. So to look back.
Christ.
Yeah. So to look back was to look back. We'll talk real quickly about Sodom and Gomorrah. If you remember, Lot's wife, Lot himself, they're told not to look back, right? Well, they're already in Zor. Bubba, they're already, I don't know exactly how far Zor was, but it was far enough, okay? But it says that Lot's wife looked back. And so here we go again with certain phrases, right? Stiff-necked people, Moses and Samson turned aside, right? There is a type of turning spiritually, and there's also a different spiritual turning, which is towards a direction that is opposite of God. And so when it says that Lot's wife turned back, when you go study that, and he literally says to think intensely about. So it's not about her turning her head and looking. Now, in real life, she may have, okay? But you have to understand, her physical action is not the reason that she died. It's always if you think it. That's why when Jesus came, he came to fulfill the law. That's not just talking about him perfecting the law. Jesus is the law, first off. Jesus did not come just to physically be good, guys. He came because spiritually he was good, not because physically he was good, because spiritually he was good. The root of him, the tree, the root was good. So Jesus said, Moses said, right, that if you commit adultery, you sin. He said, but I say, even if you think it, Jesus came to fulfill the law. He came to finish it, to complete it, to add to it in a way that you're not paying attention, to bring it alive in a way that it always has been. See, Moses gave a physical law to a physical people to teach them to physically behave. It was all physical. Jesus is the fulfillment of that law. He shows how easy it is to break the law. He goes further. He says, oh, no. Breaking the law is not when you actually do it. It's when you think it. Do you understand? This is how he came to fulfill it. He came to fulfill the law, to finish it. He said, if you think that physically breaking one of these laws, if you think, and then how do we know it's true? Because when we study the Bible and show ourselves approved, when you become familiar with the Bible like you are the back of your hand, God will not let you down. The Bible tells us that the flood happened. Noah's flood happened because their imagination was evil continuously. It doesn't say because they were physically sinning. It says because their imagination was evil continuously. It's the same thing with Sodom and Gomorrah. To think intensely about, her imagination was stuck on this place. It was the imagination of these people that were destroyed again. All it does is prove God's integrity. I don't care if she would have got on a jet plane and went to China back in those days. She still would have burnt up from within. So when we see this, she became a pillar of salt. When you go study that in the Hebrew, it just means vapor or a puff or a powder or a dust. The focus is not the salt. The focus is what did she become? She burnt up from the inside out. Yeah. But she burnt up, guys. She burnt up he was destroying the imagination of those people. He's not trying to unalive her any different. Those people burnt up and so did she. The Bible doesn't have to tell you that. All you have to understand is what caused her to become unalived. It was her imagination. When they were told, don't look back, it's talking about the imagination. And it says that the phrase don't look back, or the phrase she looked back, literally means to think intensely about. She was thinking. Don't you understand? Sin is not just the action. Sin is the imagination, the thinking of it. So when Jesus came to fulfill the law, to fulfill it. He showed how easy it was to break God's law. It wasn't just physically committing adultery. It was thinking about it. Your imagination is the problem. Your imagination is the problem. That's the whole purpose. So not only did he show us how easy it was to break the law, he showed us how hard it was to keep it. He said, if someone slaps you, turn your other cheek. He literally came to show you how impossible it is to please God. He showed you how hard it was to keep the law, and he showed you how easy it was to break it. It had nothing to do with the physical. The physical part was only given to them because they were a physical people. And Paul said, for Moses gave the law, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Notice the word truth is on one side. Paul didn't say that Moses gave the law and truth. No. The law is true, but it's not the truth. It is true that you could physically sin. That is true. But the truth is, if you think it, you're sinning. That's the truth. So people that are trying to uphold the law, they're sinning in their imagination all the time. And I hear they're confessing those sins. I don't hear them confessing that they thought of something, and it's all focused on this carnality. It's not going to work anyway. But with that being said,
God bless.
All right, let me move on to 19. What's up?
I gotta go.
All right, you ain't got to say it, man. Just bounce. All right, so Judges 14:19. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down and, okay, my bad, we read that part. King was angry, 20. But Samson's wife was given, oh, my bad, that I'm just making sure we read all of it already. Yeah. So, guys, anybody got anything to say before we get off?
Salaam alaikum. See y'all tomorrow.
I'll read the next chapter and get y'all's
Islam.
questions together.
Hey, Trot, I'm about to send you a message, so please look out for it because I have a couple questions that I want to talk to you about in private.
Okay, cool. All right. So tomorrow, guys, tomorrow we are going over Judges 15, and I'm not going to that range tomorrow, so y'all got to worry about. So tomorrow, I'm trying to push hard as I can to make it 7:30, but it's not always that easy to get off the range at that time. But 7:30, just be here. I'm gonna hop on as soon as I can. Obviously, yes, I know that for the past few weeks it's been 7:40, but it's still possible that I could hop on at 7:30. So, and again, I do apologize for or whatever. Yeah. So, all right, that's it. All right, guys. For those in the comments, guys, I'm sorry, man. It's already 1. We're hopping off. Come tomorrow. We'll be on tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. And we're gonna continue to go through Samson's story, and we're gonna point out God's wisdom in its entirety. So of that story. So God bless, guys. We'll see y'all in the morning.
Take care.